Said, no, this type of situation must stop. And nobody can stop it except us.
The Ugandan soldiers got a boost late in 2007 when the first batch of Burundian troops arrived.
When the Burundians came, it was a great relief for us because initially it was almost a Ugandan mission. It was an African mission. So now when we saw the Burundians said, yes, now at least we have a partner, we have colleagues, we have brothers with us here.
I'm receiving the flag. We brought it without export. We will carry it back without export.
Burundi also has been in the civil war since 1993. Burundi has seen how other countries have helped her to recover the security in Burundi. So to respond for that, Burundi decided to go and help other African countries, especially to intervene in Somalia.
Please, this is the chair of the contingent commander. It is a good one. You can see it swings around. So please, this is your chair, sir.
Eventually, Kenya, Djibouti, Sierra Leone and Nigeria would add significant troop numbers to the Amison team.
We had taken the posture of real peacekeepers. Stay in the camp, don't go out, don't, and even when they fire at you, don't respond aggressively. And I think that sent a wrong signal, so to say, to the Al-Shabaab that they could take us on.
For nearly 3 long years, Amison did its best to protect the new government, the civilian population, and themselves from a potent Al-Shabaab opponent.
The Al-Shabaab was close by, and they were always engaging us. 24 hours, they were engaging us.
And then there were the bombings. 2 major ones in 2009. One killed 15 Burundi soldiers, another the Amison deputy force commander.
The catalyst came when suicide bombers got into Amison's headquarters and simultaneously detonated 2 bombs. One at the force headquarters that threw the force commander against the wall and killed his deputy. And I think that triggered an understanding within Amison that sitting, waiting was not ever going to be an option.
The bombings also woke African officials up to the idea that they would have to go on the offensive.
Piga hapo kusoto. Hapo. Geuza silaha.
We said now that mobility does not help us. The best thing would be now to creep, creeping, going gradually from street to street through buildings, until we would close with them and then push them back. That's how that concept came about. because we realized that if we didn't change it, Al-Shabaab would dominate all the surrounding places.
It took us about some 3-4 days to capture a distance of about 400 meters. Every house, every room, you fight in a room, you find is in another trench. He has dug a hole in a house, and from that house, another house. Second phase was to take Bondere. I used Battle Group 7 to take Bondere. Bondere was overseeing the State House. You could not sit in that State House in Mogadishu. You can't. You can't even walk in the compound because you'll be shot at. So every time people are in the bunkers, they're down, including the president. The president came and asked me, take me away from here. And it was so touching when the president came to me and said, Paul, take me away from here.
Meet Brigadier Paul Lokech, assigned as Amison Ugandan contingent commander in 2009. Lokech remembers Tanzanian troops removing military dictator Idi Amin when he was a child. This moved him to ask for his assignment to Somalia. Paul is now the Ugandan military attaché to Russia.
What we need now is not to overstress ourselves in this tall thicket. We need now to either all of us combine a force and we go to industrial road, so that force ya Lumumba ambayo iko sio hii ile ambayo tumegawa kwa wale na lingana na Warundi up.
Offensive operations will be harrowing, demanding the best from the soldiers and putting them at death's door on a consistent basis. It would also lead to the conflict's turning point. August 6, 2011, Amison pushes the Al-Shabaab out of Mogadishu.
When Shabaab left Mogadishu, it was a turning point on our fight against Al-Shabaab, because we knew that once they are defeated in Mogadishu, that once they left Mogadishu, from there on, it will be easy for us to defeat them in other areas.
Somali government forces also participated in the liberation of the capital.
Hii ni sehemu ya undugu kubwa sana hapa Somalia. Hii ni sehemu ya urafiki kubwa sana Somalia. Lakini adui kusongoleza defense, muhakisha mumuua adui. Tuko pamoja? Yes, sir. Any Al-Shabaab who tries to attack us must die. There is no mediation on that.
This was a milestone that told Africa and the world that Amison had made a difference. This was a war from the beginning, and war brings casualties.
It is very sad to lose even one single soul. It's very sad, because our coming there was to make sure we preserve that life.
Amison has lost scores of soldiers since the mission started. These sacrifices were expected, but are never easy to accept.
I remember one day, the Burundians lost 53 people, 53 soldiers. So think about it, 53 young, boys from Burundi being killed in the front lines. They came to Somalia to save from itself, and they lost their lives. The sacrifices, the ultimate price for peace and security in Somalia.
In 2010, troops from Djibouti and Kenya were added to the mix. The Kenyan troops came in as there was increasing concerns in Nairobi over terrorist activities. Grenades in the capital and kidnappings on the coast had rattled some nerves. And much of the work the Kenyans would do was outside Mogadishu, towards Kenyan territory. During this phase of the mission, there was more technology employed as different terrain was fought on.
Coming from here. Are you ready? Raise, go! Fire!
Drones were used to spy on Al-Shabaab positions.
Of course, we had been getting a lot of Al-Shabaab resistance around all these other areas, but we have taken them on. Right now, as I talk, Al-Shabaab is on the run, and we are pursuing them. And then secondly, they will not deny the people of Somalia freedom or happiness. They must know that the African Union has a mandate to ensure that we pacify Somalia like any other part on the continent. So terrorism is not going to be accepted on this continent.
The mission went to sea.
We had planned the beach landing of troops from the sea as a surprise to Al-Shabaab, because they never expected us to approach Kismayu from the sea. Therefore, we duped them, and they thought we are going to approach from one direction, only to be surprised to find their troops already occupying Kismayu city without their prior knowledge.
The tactics of the Al-Shabaab had changed some, as IEDs, improvised explosive devices, were employed on roads leading to the new strongholds, as well as in cities as booby traps.
There have been improvised explosive devices that have been placed in some buildings in Kismayu. Suspected are the Kismayu police station, the Kismayu hospital, and some government house. That particular idea is capable of destroying a military vehicle carrying around 30 to 40 soldiers. So it's pretty dangerous, because if you lose a vehicle and 40 soldiers in one hit, that would be disastrous.
Technology can bite in either direction.
Within this week, we should be able to...
The final piece of Al-Shabaab territory to fall was Kismayu on the coast. Kenyan troops, with the help of the Somali army, finally gained control of the area in late 2012. Amison had now defeated the Al-Shabaab militarily, forcing them to operate from outside their country. But the mission is not over. After gaining control of Mogadishu and then other cities, towns and villages, the soldiers discovered other needs.
Whenever you're operating anywhere as UPDF, even at home, even outside, our first priority is to help the population around you. If you get the population around you, you're supposed to give them medical care. You're supposed to share the food you have with them if they don't have food. So it's just part of the army. It's part of our army that we always do that.
Food, medicine, shelter. Sometimes just a bit of sympathy and care were what needed dispensing at this point.
Luckily enough, this boy, there was no major vascular injury. The fragment entered on the medial side, so we are anticipating a quick recovery.
Our doctors were conducting very sophisticated operations. They conducted very, very difficult operations, which really won the hearts of many Somalians. When I was operating there, I decided to open health centers. Women could come as far as Ethiopia. You can imagine. For treatment.
I think that is really what helped us to win over, to stay up to date in Somalia. Strategic relationship with the population. Having the population on your side. That is it.
Days, weeks, months passed. Overseas Somalis started returning. The government became so confident they held another election. That election was the message to Al-Shabaab and the world that civilization had been restored in Somalia.
If anything, Somalia had the most democratic election, to be sincere. The election is very transparent. They vote there and then, the winner is seen, and then they shook hands. And the elected president is being led into State House by the former president. To me, I thought that was something very encouraging.
And they started nation building in earnest. Instead of turning to foreign organizations, they looked to their own. And Amison was there to train firemen, police, to help provide the basic services that allow a society to operate in a civilized environment.
I thank Amison and the leadership of Amison and the way they organized this training. This training is vital for Mogadishu. It was quite impossible, a city of 2.5 million population without fire trucks.
We have to focus on capacity building. All these institutions, the military, the police, the judiciary, all this. It's now about getting the Somalis own their country.
When you arrive at a crime scene, as a police officer, what is the first thing you think about?
Truly African.
Hi everyone, I'm Daisy Rocha and this is what's happening in Brazil. we start by updating you on the latest news from the country. Federal police has confirmed over 30 inquiries across the country to investigate wildfires, mainly affecting São Paulo, Pantanal, and Amazon biomes. Last week, São Paulo broke a national record with more than 2,000 fires. Over the weekend, residents of the region dealt with fire cancellations, evacuations from home, and respiratory problems. The São Paulo government confirmed that 6 people had been arrested. Paris Paralympics started on Wednesday. 279 Brazilian sportspeople, including athletes and guide athletes, are competing in the event. This is the largest Brazilian delegation ever to take part in an edition of the Games, and the largest female participation in history. The last edition in Tokyo, Brazil won 72 medals. Online betting sector is worrying Brazil's production chain. The Brazilian bank Itaú reports that the population lost over $4 billion in online gambling in 1 year. Despite progress with the more than 100 authorization requests to the government, regulatory delays have already led to unchecked growth, impacting consumption, family debt, and mental health. Extremity poverty in Brazil fell by 40% between 2022 and 2023, but income inequality increased. The super rich now earn over 30 times more than the poorest half. The data was released this week by the Brazilian Observatory of Inequalities. Employment rate also dropped by around 20% during this period. On August 21, 2009, landless worker Elton Brum was murdered during a police operation on an occupied large estate in a rural area of Rio Grande do Sul. Watch now in our story of the week about the settlement named after him and how he inspires young people in the landless rural workers movement.
By fighting and getting organized, Sebastião and Adriana's family achieved their dream of having a plot of land to work on food production. They are one of the 10 families settled under agrarian reform in 2013 in the town of Encruzilhada do Sul in the state of Rio Grande do Sul. They received the ownership of the Elton Brum settlement from then-Governor Tasso Genro. The name pays homage to the comrade who had once been side by side in their struggle, but whose dream was cut short. 15 years ago, Elton Brum was murdered by a military police with a 12-gauge shot in the back in one of the most violent repossession actions of an unproductive large estate.
They removed the trench, cleared it, came in with the cavalry, and unfortunately started hitting everyone. So they used swords to hit everyone, shot with rubber bullets, tear gas bombs, pepper spray. It was torture, something nobody wants to remember.
We were playing with the kids because the women were looking after them. Then, when we saw what was happening, it broke out in front of us, and they came all over us, women and children, dropping those gas bombs.
Violence in the countryside is a Brazilian reality that is far from over. The most recent reports from the Pastoral Land Commission show that violence cases have increased in recent years. It took years of intense legal battles before a popular jury convicted police officer Alexandre Curto dos Santos.
No entanto, logo depois, o Tribunal de Justiça concedeu o direito dele.
However, soon after that, the Court of Justice granted him the right to appeal for freedom. It was very sad to see that after receiving the benefit, the local town hall treated him as if he were a hero. We then had to appeal this decision, and 2 months later, he was back in prison.
Elton Brum's dream lives on in the families organized in the Landless Rural Workers Movement, also known as MST.
He wanted to fight. He had a dream for the land. It's for us to continue to fight for it. Our dream is to give our kids a better future and produce food.
The kind of food particular to each place can sharpen the sense much more than the palate. For example, knowledge and flavors appear as one of the same in the verses of cultural diversity of the sertaneja music. In this week's Culture Talk, you will watch the story of Fernando da Bodega, one of the founders of the Bodega da Poesia space, which brings together poetry and traditional food from the area in the northeast Brazil known as Sertão.
There is no such thing as imported food there. There you can eat a buchada, angu, or pure fava bean. Preá is the meat you add to bean. There you prepare a pirão and give it to the kids, who grew up fat and wavy, strong as thunder.
Among traditions, celebrations, flavors, and symbolisms, the experiences of taste combined with poetry deepen feelings. For example, the bitterness of Giló, as Luiz Gonzaga sang, represents the longing for a lost love.
Ai, quem me dera voltar pros braços do meu xodó, saudade assim faz doer e amarga que nem Giló.
One cultural space that restates this combination is Bodega da Poesia. The space has existed for 18 years in the São Cristóvão neighborhood of Arco Verde in the state of Pernambuco. It maintains a tradition of metrics and rhymes as well as smells and spices. In these almost 2 decades of existence, there have even been those who have suggested leaving the sertaneja cuisine aside. Despite that, those from abroad want to enjoy the place's culture, including its traditional food, considering the fact it has also to do with memories and affection.
We had to create a menu inspired by Sertão, our race and roots, the origin we could offer our friends and customers. So that's when we put together only products from Sertão, such as arrumadinho, macaxeira with jerky, goat, baião de dois, and tripa, one of Bodega's flagships. So we came up with this menu so that we wouldn't get away from the contest of Sertão.
In addition to sertaneja cuisine, Bodega combines poetry with other cultural expressions such as coco, bife, and forró.
I think the way this place brings these two things together is not ordinary. It doesn't unite any kind of poetry with any kind of gastronomy. I think the combination of my emotional experience because of my family's history and the union of various cultural manifestations that I find very beautiful is a pleasant surprise to be here and experience these things.
In addition to Fernando, 2 other poets got together 18 years ago to drink mocotó broth with cachaça, respectively a dish made with calf's foot and a Brazilian alcoholic beverage made from sugar cane.
A bodega, ela é sertão. And one said a poem, another said another poem, and so this story began. Then we arranged to meet the following Sunday to share poems. So we met, and there were already more people, 1 or 2 more.
That's how the poetry tent at the São Cristóvão Public Market came out. The current headquarters were built with the collaboration of the people who made this cultural scene emerge. The current activities are much broader than the old Sunday gatherings. The place is open from Tuesday to Sunday. On the last Thursday of the month, there is the so-called Night of the Lamp, or Noite do Candeeiro in Portuguese. This activity exemplifies the fact that there is no bad time to bring food and poetry together.
O começo do candeeiro foi até engraçado, né? Porque foi.
The beginning of Candeeiro was kind of funny because once we were here, the power went out. So we came up with the idea of having an evening for poets under the light of lamps. It was funny because it was improvised. It wasn't planned.
Kerliani also believes that combining food and poetry helps to preserve cuisine as a heritage.
Eu acredito que a importância da gente manter.
I believe it's important that we keep the food that has already been passed on to us, to young people. We must keep it so they can learn about it in the future.
In the relationship between food and poetry, the bodega space keeps alive a sertanejo music aura between time and space, as Fernando recites.
Venha ver uma noite de São João a bodega fazendo essa mistura de um povo humilde, sem frescura, abraçando você com alegria. Quem visita a bodega da poesia dá um abraço apertado na cultura.
That's all for today. If you like to stay up to date with the latest news from the country, visit our social media accounts to contact us. See you next week.
Truly African.
Zambia has one of the highest rates of deforestation in the world. Every year, massive tracts of forest are cut down for agriculture and to feed the illegal charcoal industry. Lloyd is one of many Zambians forced to use coal for affordable energy at home and as a source of income.
I cut down so many trees, but I can't count.
But in the last few years, he has begun on a new path.
I know that I was created for a purpose. What was really important was pay back time to nature.
Zambia, a landlocked country in southern Africa, is home to abundant wildlife, multiple ecosystems, natural water sources, and vast open spaces. Over 65% of this lush country is covered in forest and woodlands. But this is changing. With one of the world's fastest growing populations and over 2/3 of Zambians living in poverty, the stress on the natural environment is growing. The UN estimates Zambia is now losing up to 300,000 hectares of forest every year. The destruction of woodlands for agriculture and charcoal production are the leading causes. With the privatization of the country's electricity supply, huge price hikes have left many Zambians with no choice but to find alternative means of energy. And so the industry in charcoal has boomed, leading to the mass clearance of forest across the country.
I did become a charcoal burner because I literally had nothing to do at that time. When I decided to join the family members that were already in charcoal burning, that was the only alternative that I was left with. Apart from a small-scale farming, which could not sustain us. So we resorted into charcoal burning as a way of sourcing money. Because with us it was life. Without charcoal burning, then it meant no life. And looking at the time that I spent burning charcoal, I cut down so many trees that I can't count. I don't know the number, but it's just too numerous. In 20 years' time, are we really going to have a forest remaining? There is something that I have to do for this world, because I know that I was created for a purpose, and not a purpose of destruction. So I decided to grow at least a quite bigger nursery.
It was here in Livingston that his dream finally started unfolding. Lloyd started a small tree sapling nursery in the backyard of the house, which he named Amazing Grace.
Initially, it wasn't going to be something that I would do for selling. It was just a desire to plant trees because of the trees that I did cut down. What was really important was payback time to nature. We planted trees, we've been watering them. Me and my wife have had the support of my family.
Making the nursery financially sustainable is a struggle, and Lloyd's wife Charity is the main breadwinner in the home. She runs a creche for local children.
Make a line. They go and sit on the mat. Here at Amazing Grace, we have also this nursery here behind, and the kids. So we do two things at one place. Mirimo ngwazata yakulela banyike babandende hanongana tulina banyike bakweta mu 45 hano bene ashkola yetu.
Charity has been living here in Livingstone for quite a long time. I met her when I came in 2007 at church. She means a lot. She's my best half.
This is our nursery here. It has a lot of plants. Okay. Yetulufwelelo lwetu luli hakumona ngwetu mukutumba bitondo omu imbatuka tweshina kulandisa halikumbi oloze tunakulandisanga bene ngocho kwesekesa no mndo chikuhashilanga kana tunamono ngwetu batu balimona kuwahilira chikoma mukutumba bitondo bize. Ndakalia kunokulitisha.
Spinach.
So kujina chamiyami kechitulongese batu kutumba bitondo bangana bitondo byetu kanda nabikuma koko kuwaha chitwalilireho bafume mukocha makala ini bafume mukwecha kwenyeka misenge mangana batu tuhasa kutumba bitondo kupwanga kahana kuteta bitondo na tulikafisa oloze tukatochikubitumba koko kumakumishirira tukahona imba chitondo muno mulifuchiri yetu ya Zambia.
Although Lloyd's nursery is growing, his conservation efforts are not yet yielding financial results, and he and Charity are still forced to use the energy source Lloyd campaigns against: charcoal.
Nowadays, we have a lot of people, a lot of organizations that are talking about saving the planet or creating awareness on climate change in relation to trees.
One such organization is an international environmental NGO called Green Pop, who mobilize volunteers around the world to plant trees where they are most needed. When they first came to Zambia 5 years ago, South African Green Pop founder and director Misha Teasdale needed to purchase trees and went to visit Lloyd's nursery.
Welcome to Amazing Grace. Got some guava trees. Yeah. Where are the pawpaws and the mangoes, yeah?
Mangoes have been sowed, was just planted pawpaw seeds.
Okay.
Some 4 days ago.
Wow, these are looking really healthy, hey? Look at this one, this is amazing.
We still need extra attention,
yeah.
Some spraying to be done, a little bit of fertilizer so that they look beautiful.
Our mission really is to reconnect people with nature, immersing people in a natural environment by connecting with each other and by giving people practical, sustainable learnings so that they can apply those learnings in their own lives.
Initially, I was informed that Green Pop was only interested in buying tree seeds. But on the same day that I met with Misha, so we decided to settle for a certain amount. Now, under Green Pop, I saw an opportunity, and I feel this is the rightful time for me. I decided to give 111 lemons to Green Pop so that we do the planting because of the passion that I had of planting trees, and I never had a piece of land to plant those trees.
That day, Lloyd planted over 100 lemon trees on Sons of Thunder Farm in Livingston, in what has become the symbolic start of the next step in his journey, starting his own NGO.
EcoGreen is a non-government organization based in Livingston. It's an organization that is planting trees, raising awareness on climate change. It was quite difficult for us to get on the ground because there were a lot of things that we did not realize were needed.
Kujina chami kuri Lloyd na EcoGreen izi kukola na kulongesa watu evi tunakulinga na etu ngwetu keshina chihashika mutu wosena achilinge.
The so-called EcoGreen to be where it is now, without charities' financial help, I don't think I would have been able to be talking about EcoGreen this time. She has helped a lot in difficult situations, difficult circumstances. Yeah, sometimes there are frictions. Why don't you leave this so-called EcoGreen and do something else? Previously you were working, at least you used to help out. But nowadays you don't seem to be doing anything. You are concentrating on something that is not bringing any income.
Times were particularly hard when Lloyd started the eco work. With little or no money coming in, Lloyd had to turn to painting work in Livingston to help contribute towards expenses.
Tunakuwananga ukalu hamwe momo yabanyike inge business ngwe chukulinganga ko yakulela abanyike hakumona ngwetu mukutumba bitondo omu imbatuka tweshina kulandisa halikumbi.
There are times when I feel running out of energy. But nature sacrifices for us to be where we are, to be what we are. This is the Zambezi River.
These waters that are flowing in this river mainly come from rains. Trees help a lot in the formation of clouds and subsequently rain.
Without rainfall, we will have no rivers flowing. Where will the fish be? Where will the crabs be? Nowhere.
The rapid rates of deforestation must be addressed for the health of Zambia's environment as a whole, and the time to act is now. Trees are vital for life. They play a crucial role in the water cycle. They absorb greenhouse gases that fuel global warming. They keep soil moist by blocking the sun, produce oxygen, and absorb carbon. Activists like Lloyd are needed to help stop the downward spiral before it's too late. Lloyd Manyina was once an illegal charcoal burner, cutting down countless trees. But he knew he had to stop and resolved to pay back his debt to nature. And so began his journey as a tree planting activist. He established a tree nursery in Livingston and founded a local NGO called EcoGreen.
Now that I've gone into, planting trees, there are a lot of hands that are needed to come and help, to find means to reach out to people that are in our communities that are basically dependent on charcoal for energy.
In his mission to build EcoGreen, Lloyd has sought out collaborations with other NGOs. International organization GreenPop has been working in Zambia for many years and are dedicated to working with local activists like Lloyd, enabling them to have further reach and impact in their work. Lloyd follows in the footsteps of another Zambian, Benjamin Benga. Uncle Ben, as he is known, is the country director of GreenPop in Zambia and has been campaigning for reforestation for over 30 years.
Look at this tree. Don't you call this bleeding? This is certainly bleeding. And this is being cruel to our environment. This has been cruel to the trees. If this continues, then we've had it. Really, to say the truth, I cannot just sit there and watch, even if it means one person. I think things have to be started by one person, and those that are interested will join us.
Uncle Ben has become a source of support for Lloyd, who often seeks his counsel.
Are you there? Yes, please. Cool. Place quiet. It's been a while. Imagine. A lot of things have been happening.
Very nice to see you. Wow. After a long time. Oh, please have a seat.
As EcoGreen, I've been struggling. Yes, we've done a few activities here and there.
Yeah.
But we've been unable to attract a lot of hands to come and help in. How have you managed to be a environmental conservationist for the past 2-3 decades?
Well, Lloyd, takes a bit of time, a long time.
Sure.
I think perseverance is one of them. The other is just to love what you do. Okay. Of course, you're going to meet all these obstacles on the way, and obstacles sometimes vary. It can people trying to, change what you're doing and so on, and you get people like that.
Some certain sections of society say that we cannot support EcoGreen because EcoGreen is more like competing with GreenPop. But in my view, I think that's not the case. I don't know how you look at it yourself.
Lloyd, GreenPop is a very small institution, and the environmental issues that we cover are really huge.
And that is the reason why we cannot say because there's green pop, then we can't have another. Look, we are not everywhere. We are only somewhere, and we cover a very little space. So I think we need a bit more of people so that we can tackle this problem of the environment at a broader way. But also, us as indigenous, we must stand up and be counted.
If there was a way, I could propose a partnership, a collaboration where eco-green and green pop would work hand in hand.
I think this is what we're exactly doing even here. Okay. I think this is a start of actually working together because we've got so much in common. All that we do is just to try to look at what you have, what we have. We have done a bit of that in the past, but I think we just have to do a little more. And I think it's a high time that we started transferring, and this is what we are trying to do, to transfer our knowledge into you so that we can carry our flag up. There's a lot that you know that I may not know. And the bit that I know, I must give it to you. And then in that way, all of you will be moving together.
Thank you, Uncle Benji.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, as usual.
Sure,
Thank you.
That coming here.
You're welcome anytime, all the time.
I was going to have a relief.
Yes, mind you, you never even told me that you are coming, but because that is our tradition, you just come in anytime.
We'll never stop coming to the source of our wisdom.
No, thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Lloyd.
You're welcome.
Please, sir.
You don't look people straight in their eyes. I'll help you to come to this circle on time.
Today is the first day of Green Pop's annual Festival of Action, and as is tradition, visitors are taken to see an illegal charcoal kiln.
The whole thing, otherwise. It's okay there in terms of, we must ask them.
Yeah, they will guide us.
I just thought that I should introduce you to this forest you are in. This is Dambwa Reserve Forest. Please take this as your own forest. It is your own forest because it affects you wherever you come from.
You guys, we should sit down at some point and see how we can be planting these trees that we are cutting down. Can you see the rate at which the forest is diminishing? How about our children, our grandchildren? They will still want to benefit from these trees, but we are finishing them.
Alongside educating volunteers about charcoal, Lloyd has become a key facilitator in Green Pop's series of workshops in local farming communities.
It's one organization that has been working in there in Malango. Their projects have not been succeeding.
Lloyd is translating since I don't speak the local language, and is encouraging the communities to be able to value and take care of their resources.
So it's the aspect of the sense of ownership which we have inculcated in these workshops that I think and believe that there is hope that this will be a success. Because they are the ones that spearheaded the project, we have no sense of ownership. So even animals like our cattle are destroying the dam. That is the example of spoon feeding.
Now I'm out teaching the communities the importance of trees and maybe alternative sources of income so that people start to realize that out of the trees, in one way or the other, by promoting trees, you can still make money.
People appreciate that indeed change is there. Change can be achieved as long as one is focused.
I've come a long way. And this year's been...
From providing tree saplings to becoming a community facilitator, Lloyd's involvement in Green Pop's work has grown. As the annual Festival of Action draws to a close, Misha visits Lloyd to discuss their work in future.
We have to sit down and see how we can get connected, for sure. It's been pretty difficult for me and the Green to work in isolation.
And you guys is Green Pop, you have the tools, you have the power to bring in a lot of volunteers to come and help so that this thing can go ahead in the right direction.
One thing that's been really exciting, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us, is your understanding of the local landscape really helps the legitimacy of what we're trying to do. So it isn't us just coming in here and kind of bulldozing our development ideas. It's consulting with local people like yourself and coming up with a framework that really supports a long-term vision and hopefully making you an integral part of that vision. So it's a joint vision, it's a partnership.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Truly African.
It's been a long time coming. The people about say hard, things get hard, things get hard. Home and abroad, ends now meet again. Dollars have no friends for the ends. Church people about to the Lord, things get hard, things get hard. Most dire of circumstance. Oh, we calling but there's no response. Them say depression is a state of mind. We're trying to get over but the things ain't fine. We're rising up early in the morning time. Yet no man no one wait in line. In the city, in a pretty, the leaders get pretty. Some afraid, so them sound the alarm. Beg the youth them to come. Hey. We need food but a fool them a farm. The people about say it hard. Things get hard, things get hard. Home and abroad, ends now meet again. Dollars have no friends for the ends. Church people about to the Lord. Things get hard, things get hard. Most dire of circumstance. Oh, we calling but there's no response. In their mind, them think them safe. From the system them put in place. I try to treat the underprivileged like a slave, so it cannot stop misbehave. Uptown will be burning down. Downtown man asleep on the ground. Siren a ring out and the people a shout. We need justice, them balling out. The people about say it hard. Things get hard, things get hard. Home and abroad, ends now meet again. Dollars have no friends for the ends. Church people about to the Lord. Things get hard, things get hard. Most dire of circumstance. Oh, calling, but there's no response. Money run out, things rough out the road.
Good morning, Africa, with yours sincerely, Koku Alormasor. Always a pleasure to come your way with this segment of the show. A reminder that this show is live across 46 South African countries, despite us coming to you live from our studios here at number 48 Swanika Street in Abilinkpe. Also, you can find us or watch us in some parts of Europe and, of course, South America. On the internet, we are streaming live on www.facebook.com/Pan-African Television, also youtube.com/Pan-African Television. Today is the 29th day of November, which means that we have just one more day until this month, the 11th month of the year 2024, comes to an end. Then we enter December, and of course, December is one, especially this year, is one that is going to be in the history books, because on the 7th, Ghanaians will be going to the polls to exercise their democratic right to elect leaders. So we'll be electing a president, we'll be electing 276 parliamentarians as well, 276, because there's a latest addition in the Guan constituency, that is Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and then Likpe. Remember, these towns were exempted from the 2020 general elections. They couldn't vote in the parliamentary, but they did vote in the presidential. So for 4 years, they haven't had any parliamentary representation, but that is set to change in the next parliament, the 9th parliament for that matter. Sao or the Guan constituency is going to be having a representation. So that'll be 276 constituencies in total, and I am waiting, as usual, like I always say, I'm waiting for 7th December with bated breath. Would you vote? Well, I think you should. You are not obliged to vote, but of course, you have to also take your future into account, the future of your loved ones, your children into account. And so when you vote, you are taking not just a mere political decision, but this is a decision that also borders on life. And that's why we all should be encouraged to go out there on December 7 and vote. Vote for somebody that you think would be, I'm not going to say here and then ask you to vote for party A or party B or individual A or individual B. You should know, you should evaluate their policies and see who would be best for you, who you believe would be best for this country and has the future of this country at heart. That should be your consideration, not because the person is your tribesman or they come from the same region as you do, or perhaps they belong to the same religious sect. That shouldn't be the basis upon which you go out there and then exercise your franchise. No. What is the essence of your education? I always say that, what is the essence of your education when you go out there to vote on these lines, instead of really evaluating policies and then making an informed choice? That should be what we should be doing as a people, not because the person belongs to the Christian or Muslim faith, or perhaps the person is an Asante or Voltarian, and so we are obliged to vote for them because they come from the same place we come from, because they are our kith and kin. That shouldn't be the basis. We should be voting based on the policies and the solutions that these people prefer to the very challenges that we face as a country. And so go out there on December 7, get your presidential, you vote, get your parliamentary, you vote. Make sure you vote as you should, so that you do not have, or you do not end up being a rejected ballot for that matter. So please, I am encouraging you, I'm pleading, I'm begging you, go out there and vote. Please. Don't say, media, I don't vote. No. Unless, of course, people who are witnesses do not vote. So that's understandable. But once you're not a witness, it means that you're voting. Don't say that you don't vote because whether it's party A or party B, the value is the same. No, the value is never the same. Your decision matters. Go out there and vote. Right, I'll be having a couple of interviews here on the show, but in the interim, I'm going to be running you through the newspaper so we see the stories that are trending on the front pages. Of course, the political season, and so it's quite axiomatic that we are going to be seeing lots of political stories attributed to either the ruling administration and the flag bearer, or the NDC and the NDC's flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama. Of course, Alan Chermanting, who is leader of the Movement for Change and the Alliance for Revolutionary Change, would be in the Cheddar and Co, Goom, and all these other flag bearers of their respective political parties. They'll be making the news, around this period, and so we shall be looking at some of these stories. I'm going to start with the insight as usual, as we always do. Of course, you can visit the insightsnewsonline.com to read the stories that are on there, and you can guess the political story. That's the banner headline of the Insight. Of course, it has got to do with the butterfly family, the Afafranto. It says, Alan hailed in Volta region. Alan hailed in Volta region. Why people of the Sahel inspired global movement against imperialism. Election 2024 is exercise of thumb, not cutlasses and machetes. Sakumono Manche tells Ghanaians as he urges EC to do the needful. 25,000 HIV/AIDS patients at risk as AIDS Commission cries over lack of funds in national kitty. Mahama vows to end economic hardship in Ghana. And so here are the stories on the front page of the Insight. Visit any newspaper stand across the country, you'd find the Insights there. It sells for just 4 Ghana cedis, or alternatively, you'd want to read these stories online. The insightnewsonline.com is where you can find these and other stories. So that's all for the Insight. Let's move away from the Insight. Let's do the Herald. There's an interesting story here. Chief Justice Carter's special prosecutors answer a corruption fight with strange transfer of judge a year after Kessie Jabeng publicly cried over frustration. GJ demands free access for all media houses at elections. Bilta South MPP parliamentary candidate accused of assault, victim hospitalized. Heath Goldfield's courts bogus Prestia mine workers with promises despite concerns, and the Kufuado's ban on mining lease. Chachuchikata sues Kofi Akpalu for defamation. Highlights of NDC and MPP manifestos on good governance. Okay, that's all for the Herald newspaper. Now, let's move away from that. Let's do the Inquisitor. To ban or not to ban, toy guns importers worried. There's a new craze, I understand. Unfortunately, I've not come across it. Or fortunately, I've not come across it, because I wouldn't know exactly how I would feel when I'm in the middle of the road and then somebody pulls a gun at me. Even if it's a toy gun, I think I'm going to be petrified, and so I don't want to have any such experience. But that is the new craze, I understand. People go about with toy guns, scaring people, and I don't know why that should be the new fad or the new trend, but it's something that is cause for worry. Ghana Police Service are being told to place a ban on toy guns, but these are toy guns. They are harmless, except that, of course, it could cause public, it could cause panic to people, and so it's not a wise thing. And I wonder how people find that a joyful exercise, that you go about pulling toy guns on people and trying to scare them. I don't know. That's you have so much time on your hands if you go about doing that. Like nothing else can convince me that you have so much time, you are jobless, you have nothing doing, and so you go about pulling toy guns on people in order to scare them. It does not make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe a ban would be too draconian, but people who go about scaring people, I think that they should face the full rigors of the law. That is, causing public fear and panic, and it's senseless that people would actually do that. It's so senseless. I mean, the dangerous thing about that is that you may pull a toy gun on somebody. It's a toy gun. The person wouldn't know. This person probably has a real gun, as we saw in the case of the Deputy Finance Minister, Sticker. I've forgotten his name. Sticker. Sticker, I think, was accosted like that. A toy gun was put on him, and then he brought out a real gun. And he said that his bodyguard probably would have shot whoever was wielding the toy guns if he were there. I mean, in terms of, this is a security issue. You can't just see somebody on the street and then pull a toy gun on them. It doesn't make sense. You understand? And one cannot be too sure that what you are holding is a toy gun. You understand? So please, let us try our best possible to move away from such needless, senseless endeavors. It doesn't make sense at all. Right. Springfield GMPC complete Affina 9 well discovery appraisal test. In Kranza Queen Mother's journey to ancestors starts today. Ghana Link wins large at World Business Leaders Congress. NHI is ready for implementation of free dialysis program. This is according to the Chief Executive Officer. I want to find out how feasible is this free dialysis policy. How are we going to be sustaining it? Because I know that sustenance would be vital. Right, let's do the Daily Searchlight. Tell us your plans to combat kids on the streets problem, civil society demands from NPP and DC. That is a very legitimate call. That is a very legitimate plea, because it's become one too many to see children on the streets begging for alms. It's not even just begging for alms, but one thing that I see on a daily basis on our highways, on our streets, that hurts me, is seeing children who have, fatal, diseases that could be fatal, and fatal to them. It could actually kill them. Like you see kids on the street with hole in heart and some other, very terrible diseases. And we do not have a system where these children are provided with the health care that they require. And so their parents, most of them poor, very poor ones, because it's only a poor mother or father who would have to go through that should I say, I think the word should be demeaning, that demeaning process of having to take their children to the roadside with somebody, a preacher man sometimes, holding a microphone and begging passers-by and commuters and people in trotro for money, asking them to even drop the money on the floor, so that these monies would be used to foot hospital bills. And these are children, like some as young as a year old, 2 years old, some are even months old. These children would have to be subjected to such, embarrassment, shame. It is undignifying. It is so undignifying that children would have to go through that process where there's no proper system in place to take care of them, especially when they are born with some health defects, and so they need some proper care or some proper treatment. We are unable to give them that. So the only option that their parents, their poor parents, are left with is to go on the streets out there and then beg the public, beg for alms for these people to be taken care of, or for these children to be taken care of. It is so demeaning. It's so heartbreaking. There's nothing more heartbreaking about the Ghanaian system to me than this particular one. I just cannot for the life of me wrap my head around it. And I feel that political parties should make this a priority. We need to get kids, especially children, especially off the streets. They are mostly there, or they are 100% there by no fault of theirs. And I don't think that we should subject our children population to such undignifying, situations. That's all I'll say. Right, let's do some more stories. Jospon Group, Zoom Lion preach peace, stability, and win souls for Christ. GJ condemns Gestapo invasion at Metro TV. Now let's move away. Let's do finally the Daily Graphic newspaper. 2024 elections. Baumia Mahama signed Peace Pact. 11 other candidates concur. Election Security Task Force engages UTAG. Electricity challenges fixed lights on across country. Energy Minister Glyco calls for peaceful election. Stories on page 4. And so that's all for the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Right, let's go for a short break. When we return, shall be getting into an interview, and I'm sure that you are going to enjoy it. Do not move a muscle. Do stay.
The law is pertinent to every aspect of our lives, and so lawyers must not be the backup plan for the rainy day only.
Nothing received from a client should be put in a lawyer's personal account until such time that the money has actually been earned.
It is very dangerous to perpetuate the theory that it is narcotics that leads to crime increase.
The relevance of the law cuts across our business, social, and family transactions. Doubt this?
You can't borrow from somebody who's your client. That would lead to a conflict situation. And that's something that as a lawyer you must jealously guard when you are representing a client.
You have to register your Mohammedan marriage within 7 days?
Within a week of the celebration of the marriage.
So if you don't register it, it's not a valid marriage. Journey with our Law Express panel every week as we confirm the place of the law in our everyday transactions.
Under etiquette rules, a lawyer can terminate for non-payment of fees. So basically, if you don't pay your fees, a lawyer has a right to terminate your engagement.
It's also a little bit of a cliche. I mean, we're all used to the James Bond scene, as it were, with all the ambassadors sipping champagne and seeming to do nothing else but dine and sip champagne at receptions. That is not true. That is a misconception of the time and the nature of the work.
Diplomacy is not devoid of accountability.
Everything that matters in Africa matters to Europe as well. Be it demography, be it economy, be it security, be it culture.
Can somebody tell me where Ghana is found in Africa? Is it west, is it south, is it north, is it east Africa? Which one? Any idea? Any idea?
It's like on the west.
It's like, this is what? I don't get
it. No, it's to the west. It's to the west.
Okay. South American ambassadors represented.
I'm transforming the UN and making the UN more fit for business for Ghana is the prime objective that I have here.
You are one outstanding journalist, broadcast journalist, who has put diplomatic tourism and, diplomatic relations under one spotlight.
I have been watching diplomatic
Affairs, and I've waited unabatedly for my
Your turn.
opportunity to come here as I watched my colleague, the EU, last week.
This is Diplomatic Affairs. My name is Harriet Nati.
This is Swift Africa. This is Swift Africa.
Right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is still the morning show, Good Morning Africa, live on Pan-African Television with yours sincerely, Koku Alormasor. Always a pleasure to come your way with this segment of the show. Now, before that short breather, I gave you heads up with regards to an interview that we'll be having on the show. My guests are already here with me, and we are going to be having conversations about some, activities that should take place, or that it will be taking place before the upcoming elections, which is just some 9 days away, or 8 days? Actually 8 days, not 9, just 8 days away. And so I've been joined in the studios by Adoma Robert. She happens to be the Deputy Welfare for Creatives of the National Democratic Congress, and then also Matty Dixon. He is the National Communicator for Creatives. So I've had the privilege and opportunity to be present in meetings of the former president, who is the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, and the creative industry, or some players in the creative industry. I think I remember a few months ago, should be somewhere in August, at the AH Hotel. He met with creatives and I was there. They tabled their concerns to him, and he also spoke at length about some of the things that he was going to do to help them if he is given the nod in the upcoming polls. And so we are going to be having conversations like that, and also some events that would be taking place before the elections. I'm going to say a good morning to you guys. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you all are fine. Yes. Great. So without further ado, let's get into the conversation. Like earlier stated in my preamble, I've seen lots of creatives throw their weight, their support behind the National Democratic Congress. Let me start with you, Dixon. Why do we now see, now more than ever, I mean, from where I sit, it appears that in the history of elections, as far as I know, as far as I've seen, this is the time that I'm seeing so many people in the creative industry throw their weight behind the NDC. It didn't used to be like that, only a few people, but right now it appears that a lot of people have come out of their shells to throw their weight behind the NDC. Why is that? Why do we see that happening?
All right, so Koku, let me just say good morning and happy birthday to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Oh, today's his birthday.
Yes, today's his birthday.
Right.
I say we greet you. And now to your question, basically, some of us, let me say myself for an example, back in the day, yes, we stand strong behind the party, and it's not been easy. it's not been easy, especially being in the creative space, because there was a point where it was like we had this little diversity where someone on this side, the other people on this side was affecting business, etc., etc. But then, you see, the one thing about human beings is that when we hit realization that things are not going well. I remember back in the day, they said, right? So, God being so wonderful, he gave them the chance to come to power, and they have actually exhibited what they are capable of. And once again, his former His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was there before. We know what he was doing, what he did. And, you know, putting the keys back in the hands of somebody who's got experience to do the work is more comfortable than when you are not sure about who is coming next. As in keys where you say the person is currently in the seat and hasn't been able to project certain things that you're expecting. Because most people were actually expecting a lot of stuff from the MPP as at the time that they were coming in with all this they said. Understand, like the fundamentals are weak, the exchange is expensive. I mean, just imagine where the dollar is now to the city. It's very bad. And you see, I believe that Ghanaians are not, excuse my language, they are not that daft or they're not childish. They have come to realize that, look, they need someone with experienced hands to coach them. And because of that now, we the creatives are no longer shy, let me put it like that. Everybody is now coming out because it's more like a battle for Ghana as a country. It's no longer about whether you are in this party or that party. Things are not going well. And I mean, we must agree. The economy is very rough. Things are hard almost every now and then. Prices are striking up here and there. And it's not easy for the average Ghanaian, naturally. So we, the creatives this time, have told ourselves that, look, if we were there and you came, one party comes to us and says to us, okay, I feel that I should be able to run the show for you. We've given you the chance to run the show. We can see that evidently you're not doing anything. That is for even us, let alone the average Ghanaian. It's not helping us. You understand? So right now is the time that we need to come together as a group and as a unit and make sure that the right thing is done, so that at least if in the next couple of years, like I always tell people, if Mama should come and doesn't live up to his expectation, we'll still go to the polls again. And at that point, we let him understand that, look, we were expecting this from you, I didn't do it. So then it's time to give somebody else a chance. But we believe that his coming back is not for anything, because if he erred in the previous dispensation, we would have said that, okay, then there's a problem. But we know he was doing what he had to do. It's quite unfortunate Ghanaians give the keys to somebody else. So right now, Sankofa is never wrong. We're going back to go and take what we had and then push it forward and make sure that things go well.
Right. You've been having a series of activities over the last few months, and the election is just 8 days away, just a few days more, then we return to the polls. So tell us exactly what you have been doing as, you know, an organization, Creatives for NDC, what you have been doing, some of the things that you have been doing to ensure that you also throw your little support or weight behind John Mahama and then the NDC.
Okay, thank you. I also like to say happy birthday to our incoming president, John Dramani Mahama. Daddy, happy birthday to you. The Creative for NDC have actually embarked on many projects since the campaign started. We visited many of the orphan constituencies to show our support with them, helping the door-to-door activities, as in encouraging voters to come out. We've actually shown light on the 24-hour economy of the NDC to elaborate how it is and to explain to them, for them to understand it really well. We've also taken up street activities with Ashmore, that's the Greater Agrarian chairman, all over the streets with our celebrities who have actually come to understand that with the industry collapsing, the only person who has us at heart then was John Dramani Mahama. And what people don't see is that the creative industry actually generates a revenue for the country. Most of the revenue that comes in is actually from creatives. We give in a lot, but we see now that the industry is just going down. Nothing is happening in the industries. Our old stars are being sidelined because in a way they showed an affiliation towards a particular party. So there's biases everywhere. But now that they are coming out, they are stating their stake and they are saying that this is the person that helped. This is the person that has been there for us throughout. And so we are showing our support behind the person. And it's marvelous. What we have been doing is marvelous. The response we are getting on grounds is just marvelous. And we really like the outcome. In terms of our work, we are going to use it to preach another message, that there's unity and the front is solid. Come 1st December, everybody should come out. All celebrities are coming out. Everybody who is in line with the NDC is coming out. We are coming in to state what he has for us. That is what John Dramani Mahama and the NDC has promised us. And the youth out there who wants to come mingle with their stars, who wants to come and learn about creatives, who wants to see new things that has been installed or in place for us to champion a cause, should all come out. Let's do this. Let's be mega about this thing.
So you have christened or named that the last big push and victory walk with your celebrities.
Yes.
And okay, so when is this coming on? When is it happening, Matt?
Yes, it's coming on the 1st of December. That's this very Sunday. And basically, the walk is going to start from La Paz all the way through Accra Mall, and the final point is Bayview Point Hotel at Atomic.
Okay.
That's where we're going to station finally. Okay. So like we're saying, you know, it's more or less a peace walk. But it's a peace walk that is telling all Ghanaians that it is time to take a stand. And you see, I always say this thing. We watch other countries and we see war going on due to elections and other stuff. Ghana has never seen that kind of thing because God has been good to us. And this is the time for us to state our point that we, the NDC, being democratic as we are working, and it's a walk for peace. It's a walk that's supposed to unite all of us. It's not just about NDC, like I said. If you notice, it's not just the NDC people who are complaining. We have MP people who are complaining. We have other parties also coming in to complain, which means that the economy does not affect only NDC people's pockets. It affects everybody in general. So if you are a Ghanaian and really you call yourself patriotic and really you want to see that come December 7th, what happened at Ayawaso West, which is my constituency, will not reoccur again, then this is the time to come and state it. That you are united. We are a united front. We are going out there. We are working for peace. We are asking for a peaceful election. We are asking for transparency. No more qualms about this, that. And we're asking for every polling agent, no matter the party you belong to be present when it's time to count the ballot and to open your eyes wide. Because if we do not want Ghana as a country to crash at this point in time, then this is the time to make sure that we do that. It's time to rescue the country. When we rescue it, and like we say, we reset Ghana to where it needs to be, I'm sure that in the next couple of years, we should be okay. So all we're asking for is that everyone should step out and let us do this thing once and for all.
Right. Adoma, what are some of the activities to expect on the day?
Okay, so as we said, the walk will take place from La Paz, and then we have some of the big players in the industry joining: Big Aquays, Christiana Wuni, Kafui Danku, John Dumelo, Baba Sadiq, KOD, some of all the big groups. They are Rex Soman. Yes, they are all coming out. AB Bright, AB Bright is also coming out that day to support. And the float, the walk actually is taking place from La Paz to Bayview. At Bayview, there will be a stage where artists will take turns to perform, and then we will have the stars also taking turns to give out a message. And that's what we want to tell everybody to come out and participate. Yes.
All right. I'd like to use the opportunity to congratulate our executive team for the creatives, because we've really come far and they've done a good job by putting all the regions together so that we'll be able to be all across the regions to make sure that whatever it is that needs to happen happens this time.
All right, so Sunday, December 1st December 2024, the time is 2 p.m.
on the dot.
The conversion point is La Paz. And so La Paz is just here, just a stone throw away from here, and then through Accra Mall to Atomic Junction, and they are going to converge at the Bayview forecourt. That is where the live performances from talented artists, the dance and campaign messages and souvenirs and more, all will be taking place. Thank you so much, Adoma and Dixon, for your time this morning. I wish you a successful walk come Sunday.
We're hoping to see you there.
We'll try our best. We'll try our best possible, and then pass through, and then come and cover it so that we can report it for the news. Thank you so much. Right, this is where we draw curtains on today's edition of the newspaper headlines. Coming up is the newspaper review. George AEC of the New Patriotic Party, as well as Dr. Ramsey Yunusa, who will be representing the Movement for Change, will be joining me to have conversations about Africa. And of course, there's so much to talk about as far as this upcoming election is concerned. You wouldn't want to miss a thing. Catch you at 8 a.m.
The law is pertinent to every aspect of our lives, and so lawyers must not be the backup plan for the rainy day only.
Nothing received from a client should be put in a lawyer's personal account until such time that the money has actually been earned.
It is very dangerous to perpetuate the theory that it is narcotics that leads to crime increase.
The relevance of the law cuts across our business, social, and family transactions. Doubt this?
You can't borrow from somebody who's your client. That would lead to a conflict situation. And that's something that as a lawyer you must jealously guard when you are representing a client.
You have to register your Mohammedan marriage within 7 days?
Within a week of the celebration of the marriage.
So if you don't register it, it's not a valid marriage. Journey with our Law Express panel every week as we confirm the place of the law in our everyday transactions.
Under etiquette rules, a lawyer can terminate for non-payment of fees. So basically, if you don't pay your fees, a lawyer has a right to terminate your engagement.
It's also a little bit of a cliche. I mean, we're all used to the James Bond scene, as it were, with all the ambassadors sipping champagne and seeming to do nothing else but dine and sip champagne at receptions. That is not true. That is a misconception of the time and the nature of the work.
Diplomacy is not devoid of accountability.
Everything that matters in Africa matters to Europe as well. Be it demography, be it economy, be it security, be it culture.
Can somebody tell me where Ghana is found in Africa? Is it West? Is it South? Is it North? Is it East Africa? Which one? Any idea? Any idea?
It's like on the West.
It's like, this is what? I don't get.
It's the South. No. It's to the West. It's to the West.
Okay. South American ambassadors represented.
I'm transforming the UN and making the UN more fit for business for Ghana is the prime objective that I have here.
You are one outstanding journalist, broadcast journalist, who has put diplomatic tourism and, diplomatic relations under one spotlight.
I have been watching diplomatic affairs, and I've waited unabatedly for my opportunity to come here as I watched my colleague, the EU, last week.
This is Diplomatic Affairs. My name is Harriet Nati.
This is Swift Africa.
Hey me, I if woman ever marry you, if woman ever marry you,
Hello Monica, can you come over? Make you chop love and tuna. I want you here, don't send me your tuna. I don't mind that Uber. My blessing, baby, come on, good sin, no be passing, good sin, no be passing, good sin, alhamdulillah.
oh a tsunami na jaribu taniko awe bana, Italia.
Living life, see my fire burning bright within the inside me. Smally way they mighty, they never know I color. Trop tard, je suis trop loin pour toi. La plus bonne de mes copines, à mes copines, à mes copines.
Make me sweat, make me harder, make me lose my breath, make me water, make me sweat, make me harder, make me lose my breath, make me water.
Truly African.
How can we have some local fast food? Mama, me again. Let's go yale. Me call you mum. Who hear me? Menti me at my friend doctor when I'm crossing over. Share that cross. See what we swear. She has malaria. Malaria. Oh, what they say? What the router? Me copy the absence. A draw in a friend router mixer. You come and let the draw and running router. Some.
Calf trap and the draw crew abaso body assay. Wabo router mixer abaso. Router natural products and one router mixer. Yeah, you could see a treat. Router tonic and the router life for. And who a finish like the bunny. If in the pedium, NASA support the immune system. Router day. Obiasi FDA. I did drinking crap to you.
How can we solve the unemployment crisis in Ghana? Yes, Massa.
By using formula 133.
Can you expatiate?
Say, this simply means 1 job, 3 shifts, 3 people. That is the Mahama 24-hour economy policy. Under this policy, businesses will be given tax incentives, cheaper electricity, financial support, and security support services to encourage them to work 24/7 by adopting 3 work shifts of 8 hours each. This will triple job opportunities in the country. This policy will boost production, increase productivity, and generate well-paying jobs in all participating businesses and public organizations.
Excellent. The 24-hour policy will be a game changer.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
China Now is a show dedicated to providing the world with an overview of today's China. Here, you will learn about how China works, how China thinks, and how China views itself and the rest of the world. Let China not be far away from you anymore. Join us every Saturday at 8 a.m.
The law is pertinent to every aspect of our lives, and so lawyers must not be the backup plan for the rainy day only.
Nothing received from a client should be put in a lawyer's personal account until such time that the money has actually been earned.
It is very dangerous to perpetuate the theory that it is narcotics that leads to crime increase.
The relevance of the law cuts across our business, social, and family transactions. Doubt this?
You can't borrow from somebody who's your client. That would lead to a conflict situation. And that's something that as a lawyer you must jealously guard when you are representing a client.
You have to register your Mohammedan marriage within 7 days?
Within a week of the celebration of the marriage.
So if you don't register it, it's not a valid marriage. Journey with our Law Express panel every week as we confirm the place of the law in our everyday transactions.
Under etiquette rules, a lawyer can terminate for non-payment of fees. So basically, if you don't pay your fees, a lawyer has a right to terminate your engagement.
You should be this, you should be that, you should be this. How you saying to yourself?
You see, I should be what? I should be myself. That's it. Authenticity is just being yourself. So, you know, if you allow yourself to be carved in other people's images, you turn out to be very confused, because everybody will have their own image. Everybody will have their own expectation. So what are you going to do? Do you have your own? Do you have your, not that you don't listen to advice, but it must be based on something you believe in, something that has brought you this far. Sometimes I also have a sense that people don't know what to do with me because I'm in a new position. Sometimes I ask people, okay, so what did I say? They're not telling you anything they said. Or you said, what did I say? Did you like it? Were there comments? No. Say, oh, everything was fine. You know, it wasn't everything was fine. She wasn't listening. She was looking at whether your eyebrow was properly penciled,
round or
square or whatever, or if your lipstick matched your trimming. It's also good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But in order of priority, what should you be doing? Why are you in this position?
Vice President Mayen. What's your Abin? Now, Obin, and was I there was a shit. Now, I wouldn't dear, I wouldn't answer. Ah, you show my sword. A young woman, Nankasa, woman, Promoha. There's a fire woman, Nankasa, but is her. It's a member because I never breathe. Maybe make us soup. Set your mobile beer. December 7, 2024. Inshallah. John Mahama, the Baba Yamapedi, and we're gonna have. What is your name? And the main in the group in our back.
Join Professor Jane Nana Opukwajiman on her campaign journey on Pan-African Television.
This is Swift Africa. My name is Alan Chamating, the founder and leader of the Movement for Change and the leader of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. Join me this Thursday and every Thursday at 9 p.m. for an exciting discussion on the Great Transformational Plan. This will give you an insight over 14 episodes about the transformation that is waiting for us in Ghana. This will be with KOD. We promise you an exciting and a fulfilling discussion. See you.
Next day from Malamata Market to Kaneshi, and this is a convoy. And I'm in a convoy with Professor Jenny Nana. No time to waste.
I feel like you are so. You are so bad. Now they see free education. Sister, you free education. And then master's books cost 5 million. Why am I never on your couple? You are all at your now.
Yeah, mommy, Professor Jane, Nano Poquatimai. Simi catch a money now, say, or Tina Homa Yenina, na yesu, a yanisu. Now, what did 10? Any part,
Yes, yeah, I say the Mumra Bakaya, Money, and Putin, and just a fancy power.
We can assure the Ghanaian people that we will not disappoint them, we will not destroy the economy, we will not engage in state capture, naked corruption, as we have seen under the Akufo-Addo administration.
These are the things that Prof is campaigning against to make sure that life becomes bearable, so that Ghanaians will give John Mahama the opportunity to reset the country.
The NPP is doing everything to lose an election. Their choice of flag bearer running mates clearly show that they've got it wrong. 2, we must demonstrate to Ghanaians that we're ready to take power. And I think that we are doing that with our choices. And finally, we must ensure that we count the votes. And that's where we are now going to focus on, ensuring that we count our votes.
I don't believe there's anything like not our constituency. Okay? I don't believe that at all. The ordinary human beings living there, the ordinary human beings with preferences, who feel what it is that everybody is feeling now, and who have a right to change their minds. So there's nothing like that, you know. So if you are going into, it's like going into a battle determined to lose. Why are you going? They know as well as go. You go in determined to win, to do everything to win, not everything impossible, not everything crooked, not everything illegal.
Join Professor Jina Opoku-Agyeman on her campaign journey on Pan-African Television.
It will not change
if we are not radical. And that is why we are thinking about an affirmative action law.
We are saying pass the affirmative action bill law.
In that area, I'm a feminist actually, to ensure that the affirmative action comes to life in this time that I am alive.
And let's stop toying a bit. The ministry is leading the process. Please stop sleeping. Wake up.
2030 is coming close, and we think that if the law is not passed now, then we are not likely to meet the targets of 2030, parity in 2030.
Can we all agree that we will not go into the next election without the affirmative action bill?
The affirmative action gender equality bill 2024, bill 2024, now affirmative action gender equity act 2024, duly read the third time and passed.
And
the Affirmative Action Gender Equity Act 2024 is passed. What's next? Join us at this year's Obasima Summit as we explore the next steps after the passage of the bill. How do we action the objectives of this bill to ensure the desired outcomes of equality and empowerment? Obasima Summit 2024. Date 29th November 2024. Venue Accra City Hall AMA. Theme Affirmative Action, Empowerment in Action. Call us to book a seat. Ladies, let's continue to hold up the sky. See you there.
The Akufo-Addo government, which began in 2017, has shown remarkable transformation in the educational sector under the ministerial leadership of Dr. Yao Osei Edochum. The implementation of numerous initiatives in the form of infrastructure development, formulation and implementation of policies and programs such as the free SHS, as well as investments in TVET institutions, STEM schools and basic to secondary schools have resulted in massive transformative achievements. These achievements are expected to empower future generations with essential skills needed for personal growth and national development. In the light of these, I bring you documentaries highlighting the transformative achievement in the educational sector, spearheaded by the Minister for Education, Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Edochum. Watch the Transformation Agenda series on Pan-African TV. Transformation Agenda series on education, reimagining education for national development. Truly African.
Ha! Hata wodi asem luku faso. Baba. Me again. Nessa we yale. Me kwa adwuma mu hia me nti. Mentimi ansent my friend doctor kwa wona mkwaso wo ba. Share the process. Si wo wusu ani. She has malaria. Malaria. Oh, what they say what the router? Me copy the absence here. A draw ne friend router mixer. You come and ready a draw. And running router. So Gaff trap and the draw ku abaso body ase. Wabo router mixer abaso. Router natural products nduane router mixer. Ya e dikutia a treat. Router tonic and the router life for. E wuhuru e feel sra the body e feel nipadua mu. Nasa support immune system no. Router de obi ase FDA age dwede nkra to ya tu.
How can we solve the unemployment crisis in Ghana? Yes, Massa.
By using formula 133.
Can you expatiate?
Say, this simply means 1 job, 3 shifts, 3 people. That is the Mahama 24-hour economy policy. Under this policy, businesses will be given tax incentives, cheaper electricity, financial support, and security support services to encourage them to work 24/7 by adopting 3 work shifts of 8 hours each. This will triple job opportunities in the country. This policy will boost production, increase productivity, and generate well-paying jobs in all participating businesses and public organizations. Ejumanu obi afeyebi.
Excellent. The 24-hour policy will be a game changer.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
China Now is a show dedicated to providing the world with an overview of today's China. Here, you will learn about how China works, how China thinks, and how China views itself and the rest of the world. Let China not be far away from you anymore. Join us every Saturday at 8 a.m.
The law is pertinent to every aspect of our lives, and so lawyers must not be the backup plan for the rainy day only.
Nothing received from a client should be put in a lawyer's personal account until such time that the money has actually been earned.
It is very dangerous to perpetuate the theory that it is narcotics that leads to crime increase.
The relevance of the law cuts across our business, social, and family transactions. Doubt this?
You can't borrow from somebody who's your client. That would lead to a conflict situation. And that's something that as a lawyer you must jealously guard when you are representing a client.
You have to register your Mohammedan marriage within 7 days?
Within a week of the celebration of the marriage.
So if you don't register it, it's not a valid marriage. Journey with our Law Express panel every week as we confirm the place of the law in our everyday transactions.
Under etiquette rules, a lawyer can terminate for non-payment of fees. So basically, if you don't pay your fees, a lawyer has a right to terminate your engagement.
You should be this, you should be that, you should be this. How you saying that to yourself?
You see, I should be what? I should be myself. That's it. Authenticity is just being yourself. So, if you allow yourself to be carved in other people's images, you turn out to be very confused because everybody will have their own image. Everybody will have their own expectation. So what are you going to do? Do you have your own? Not that you don't listen to advice, but it must be based on something you believe in, something that has brought you this far. Sometimes I also have a sense that people don't know what to do with me because I'm in a new position. Sometimes I ask people, okay, so what did I say? They're not telling me anything they said. Or you said, what did I say? Did you like it? Were there comments? No. Say, everything was fine. It wasn't everything was fine. She wasn't listening. She was looking at whether your eyebrow was properly penciled,
round or
square or whatever, or if your lipstick matched your trimming. It's also good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But in order of priority, what should you be doing? Why are you in this position?
Vice President Emmanuel. What's your now I wouldn't a woman Nankasa woman promoha. There's a fire woman Nankasa but is her. It's a member Mikasa never break. Maybe make us soupi. Sat Yomube Bia. Some December 7, 2024. Inshallah. John Mahama Baba Yamapeni.
Join Professor Jainana Opukwajiman on her campaign journey on Pan-African Television.
This is Swift Africa.
My name is Alan Chemating, the founder and leader of the Movement for Change and the leader of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. Join me this Thursday and every Thursday at 9 p.m. for an exciting discussion on the Great Transformational Plan. This will give you an insight over 14 episodes about the transformation that is waiting for us in Ghana. This will be with KOD. We promise you an exciting and a fulfilling discussion. See you.
Next day from Malamata Market to Kaneshi, and this is a convoy. And I'm in a convoy with Professor Jenny Nana. No time to waste.
Free education, sister, free education. And then master's books cost 5 million. I am another yes couple who are all at Chawana. Yeah, mommy, Professor Jane, Nano Poquatimai. Simi catch a money now say, Otina Homa Yenina, na yesu a yanisu.
We can assure the Ghanaian people that we will not disappoint them, we will not destroy the economy, we will not engage in state capture, naked corruption, as we have seen under the Koku Alormasor administration.
Those are the things that Prof is campaigning against to make sure that life becomes bearable, so that Ghanaians will give John Mahama the opportunity to reset the
Truly African.
That's not the right. That's not. No. But somebody else. But somebody else doesn't have to bear the brunt of that. I think we are live on air. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the review segment of the show. As usual, this show is live from our studios at number 48 Swanika Street in Abilinkpe. We're actually having some side conversations before, but let me run you through the topics that we are discussing for the morning. Sudan in danger of becoming a failed state. Aid chief warns. Afenyo Makin accuses speaker of taking parliament as his personal property. And presidential candidates sign peace pact ahead of elections. Please, the peace is P-E-A-C-E. P-E-A-C-E, peace pact, and not the other peace. They are homonyms. P-I-E-C-E. P-E-A-C-E, peace pact, ahead of elections. And so these are the topics that we'll be discussing this morning. I've been joined by Dr. Ramzi Yunusa of the Movement for Change. Doc, good morning.
Good morning. Bless.
I hope you're fine.
Well, Bless, I can say I am managing.
We are all managing. Even George is managing.
Oh, I see also managing.
Everybody, we all managing.
I see also
good
managing.
Morning. Good morning. I hope you're fine, sir. Great. Right. And so, we're having some conversations on the side about the military, and then it appears Doc and I are on one side and then Mr. is here. He's on the other side. That's just by the way. Let's start the conversation. We are starting with happenings in Sudan. The ever-ending, it never ends. The never-ending situation in Sudan. I'm even tired of talking about it, as are we all. But it's an African issue, and no matter how many times we would have to do it, we still would have to do it. And so this morning, war-stricken Sudan is in danger of becoming another failed state because civil society is disintegrating amid the proliferation of armed groups. The head of a leading international aid agency has told the BBC, as well as the two main warring parties in Sudan, the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces, that is the RSF. There are many smaller ethnic armies looting and going berserk on civilians. Jan Egeland, head of the Norwegian Refugee Council, said the parties are tearing down their own houses. They are massacring their own people. For 19 months, there has been a brutal power struggle between the army and the RSF that has forced more than 10 million people to flee their homes and pushed their country to the brink of starvation. And all that I saw confirms that this is indeed the biggest humanitarian emergency on our watch, the biggest hunger crisis, the biggest displacement crisis, Mr. Egeland said following a trip to Sudan. In September, the UN World Health Organization said starvation in Sudan was almost everywhere. So it's not as if it's not there yet. It's actually there, there's starvation, but it appears that it's only a matter of time until it becomes omnipresent in every part of Sudan. There will be starvation. I think we've already said on this show that people were resorting to eating peanut shells and some other unwholesome stuff just to stay alive, looking at the food situation, the economic crisis, the war situation in Sudan. Very terrible, very terrible. And I mean, we have spoken about this ad nauseum. We've spoken about it time and again, and I don't know. I don't know what else we can say about this, Sudan situation. Dr. Ramsey.
Bless. Good morning to you, and a very good morning to my colleague IEC, and I extend my greetings on behalf of Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin to the good people of Ghana that are calling for a change, and not a change between the alternatives, but an ultimate change that will be able to leapfrog our people from poverty to prosperity. Bless. The Sudan crisis is yet again a clear paradigm to the weakness of our institutions, especially the African Union. I quite remember when there were crises in East Africa, specifically Somalia. The Eastern African Regional Bloc, together with the AU, established a military force called Amison. Do you remember? To mitigate the issues of terrorism in Somalia. That was propagated by Al-Shabaab at that time. And Amison did a very good job in ensuring the peace and security of the Somalian people. And of course, safeguarding the rights of women and children that were brutalized by these terrorist organizations, Al-Shabaab. But unfortunately, we've seen the AU's failure in regards to, an absolute resolution of the issues that are faced in Sudan currently. And it begs a question, are they really talking about these issues? Do they really know what is going on? Do they really care? Right? Then we talk about the World Food Program, WFP. WFP, Africa is home to 60% of the world's arable land, undoubtedly, right? We have, our soil is very rich and can grow any crop in this world. But then the WFP hasn't invested a lot in African farmers through the the aid programs that they supply food to these communities or these areas that are highly impoverished and suffering from malnutrition. WFP hasn't been able to support our farmers in this regard from the billions of dollars of aids that they get, but rather they use the farmers in Europe. The farmers in Europe enjoy massively from the aid that the WFP gets against what we get from them in Africa. But we need the AU. That's why I'm saying that the AU is the only body that can be able to help solve our crisis in Africa. But it's not living up to its expectation. What is the AU doing about Sudan? That today 10 million people have been displaced. 2.5 million people near starvation and will likely die from starvation. 2.5 million people. That is worse in terms of projection than the crisis in Ukraine and then that of Palestine and even the whole of Middle East put together, or even Southeast Asia with the issue of the Rohingya refugees and all that. So we have a crisis at hand, and this is as a result of failed leadership. RSF and then the Sudanese army are fighting for power. These are of course military I would say leaders that are fighting for their own selfish interests, and that is why I have a harsh stance on, I would say, military regime across Africa, and the ideology that people will rise to power using the gun. I have a harsher stance on that, and that is why the earlier discussion we had before we came live on TV with the issue of Ashama and all that, and a country that is being run by a constitution. We have heads of, various heads of, institutional, independent constitutional bodies. And then a military commander will just command soldiers to go and brutalize innocent citizens in Ashama and all that. And so, Bless, Sudan has become a lawless country. If you look at the healthcare infrastructure in Sudan currently, they are all in dilapidating condition. And it is time the world turns its eyes on Sudan. It is time the AU live up to its mandate to help mitigate the crisis in Sudan. And it is time for the leaders in Sudan. I don't know if Omar al-Bashir is also being consulted on this. I know he's in prison, but I don't know if he's, but I think that he will also play a very crucial role in this. They should engage Bashir, because Bashir has been a former military officer. And so all these warring factions...
I didn't hear the RSF is established.
I've heard that, but I have a peaceful stance. That's why I didn't want to include that. That is why I had to say it neutrally, that Omar al-Bashir is also relevant in ensuring that there's peace in Sudan, right? And then the AU, as I did reiterate, and for the UN as well, that's why we are calling for Africa to have a permanent seat on the UN Security Council. We do not have a permanent seat. A continent with a population of over 1.2 billion people. We still are fighting for a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. You understand? If we had a seat at the UN Security Council, we can be able to table our agenda through veto powers and all that, so that we can support our own and fight for the interests of our people and ensure that conflicts across Africa that will be detrimental to the survival of its people would be mitigated if we have a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. And so, Bless, the African Union again has been caught as a lame duck, not doing its job well. We would hope and we would wish that all the factions, the interest groups, namely the US, the UAE, Egypt, and then the Emiratis, which is a UAE, and then Qatar and co, would ensure that they adjudicate on issues pertaining to Sudan in a manner that would uphold to the principle of positive neutrality and see the interests of the people and understand the pain, the anguish of pain that these people are living with. That today the healthcare system in Sudan is not functioning, right? Nothing, the education of the young ones, children, universities and everything is shut down. So you are denying innocent children of their rights to be educated, right? You are denying innocent citizens of their rights to live. That today, women, and this is the most painful part, innocent women are being raped in Sudan against their own will.
Yeah.
And nobody is talking about these issues. Nobody is doing anything about this issue. And we sit down here and Russia and Ukraine war, yes, Russia and Ukraine war is relevant, but the US pumps billions of dollars to finance the war going on in Russia. But the same leader or world leader for democracy and human rights has failed to acknowledge what is going on in Sudan. In supporting Sudan, ultimately, with the best resolution to bring the conflict to an end. And so we are hoping and we are praying. We can only hope and pray. We have limited powers because the organization that is meant to mitigate the crisis in Sudan is not living up to its expectation, the African Union. And I'm calling on them again, this time again, that they have to live up to their expectation and ensure that peace prevails in Sudan. And of course, the rest of Africa. Because it's not only in Sudan. Congo DRC is going through such crisis between Rwanda, the rebels, M13 rebels, and all that. So there are a lot of, I would say, hot spots in Africa. Of course, West Africa is also not free, right? The issues in the Sahel region and all these conflicts. So we are hoping that the World Food Program, as I reiterated, would give, I would say, a fair share of what they raise globally in the aim to help support impoverished nations and nations that are going through crisis and support our farmers. Ghana is open to their support. We have a lot of arable land here. If they're able to support our farmers, we can plant maize, cassava and all that and supply these war-torn countries so that they can be able to mitigate issues of malnutrition, right, and food insecurity. Right. So we are praying for peace for our Sudanese people, and they are Muslims. And in the Quran, it says that Inna Allah ma sabirin, that Allah blesses those that are patient. And so we are hoping that the Sudanese people would ensure, the leadership especially, would be patient in dealing with each other. And of course, war has no victor. None of them are winning. It's Sudan that is losing at the end of the day. And so we are calling for peace for the Sudanese people, and we hope that AU will do its best.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ramsey Inusa. Sir George.
Yeah, Bless. Good morning to you. Good morning to my friend Doctor. Good morning to our viewers, your production crew. Kwame Usu, running mate of the Affirmative, our own good friend. And then let me say good morning to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the next emphatic president of the Republic of Ghana, the next definite president of the Republic of Ghana. A week from tomorrow, all of us are going to cast our ballots, and then the determination will be made. I'm very convinced, beyond reasonable doubt, that the Ghanaian people are going to repose their trust in Dr. Bawumia, because the MPP has shown that it is the party that has the interest, progressive interest and development interest of the Ghanaian people. So Ghanaians, you have seen it yourself. You know what it is. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's emphatic development successes, both developmental, social, and all facets, in spite of being in the midst of crisis, we've kept our flag afloat. MPP is your best choice. Breaking the eight is emphatic and it's spiritual, it's divine, sealed. Sudan. The issues of Sudan is so unfortunate. That is unfortunate what is happening in Sudan. It's because of the issues of strong men factors leadership in the world. That's part of the reasoning we are where we are. Because you remember the issue of Omar al-Bashir. You remember? He was a strong man in Sudan. And for many years. You remember Gaddafi? Yeah. After Gaddafi, look at what is happening to Gaddafi's beloved Libya. Okay? So the issue of strong men are worrying situations for all of us. So let's look at that. Now, after Omar Bashir, now look at what is happening in Sudan. When I was in secondary school, in geography, we have something we study about the Nile Basin. And you know the Nile begins from Sudan all the way to Egypt and gets into the sea. And it's seriously economic farming, okay, for economic reasons, fertile lands along the banks of the Nile River. And so that's serious agricultural work over there. But look at the Sudan, we say, plagued with war for God knows how many years now. Doctor said something about the world not coming. There's support fatigue. There's fatigue. How long can you continue fighting and expect people to always come and be helping you? Bless. There's fatigue. People want peaceful nations and co to support. You inflict war on yourselves, and we are always spending money, throwing money there. And you want us to continue. How long can we sustain that? So the people of Sudan, it's about time you took your destiny into your own hands and know that the war will not help. It's destroying your nation and your people. You remember South Sudan? It was part, and so the struggle of ultimately they achieved it.
Yeah.
Now look at what they disintegrated, the RSF, and as you are saying, they are pro-Bashir. Okay, so what is it? Do they want negotiations for Bashir to be released, or they intend to win and bring Bashir back as the leader? What is their objective? You get it. Then the quasi-government that is there, why is it not able to hold the army? Why are they not able to hold the nation together? Okay, so these are matters that we know that there are interest, power play, power struggle. People want power. To say they are, then what? When you get that power, what? And the people are suffering. So Africa, how long? And yes, I agree with Doc, the AU's position. The AU doesn't seem to portray that it is a strong force to reckon with. And that is the basis upon which I'm not being a pessimist, okay? With the position of the AU, very weak, how do you think with this weak stand you can get a permanent seat in the United Nations? You cannot. What do you bring to the, what do you have that if you decide you are not bringing it, the world will shake? What do you have? You get it? When Russia attempts to pull things, that's worry. When US, Africa, even uniting is a problem. When Nkrumah said we should unite, we found he wanted to be president of Africa. And as a result of that, you know, individual interest played in. And we are where we are, 63, 65 years down the line. We are where we are today. You get it? So until Africa comes together and have a very strong, united, we have economic power because of natural resources, right? But until we begin to translate or transform these natural resources into productive ventures, okay, that benefits and then makes it a solid thing on the table, we are going to be considered second fiddle. And nobody will mind you when you say you must have a permanent seat on the UN Security Council. Okay? So that is it. Because you give you the permanency, you still be fighting yourselves. Those are the issues. So Sudan, it's a very strong agriculture enclave. Yes, it's high arid the state. But Israel is a powerful agri nation. So it tells you with the proper technology and the mindset and the leadership, Sudan is already a very solid agri thing, but they should utilize it. And then they want up oil resources. How are they using it for their people? They are using it to buy what? Guns. And the people are starving. If you read the report, starvation pervasive in the area. In fact, if you remember that there was a journalist who did a certain reportage where a voter was trying to peck. You remember that story?
Yeah,
it gained international recognition.
He even committed suicide.
Yes, because people questioned him that,
you were waiting for the...
And he felt guilty. It is true. He gave a very powerful shot. He didn't think through it and then made it public and then people started questioning. So, you were there, you saw her, you left her. And it weighed on him too much. And that story is a Sudan story. To Sudan, how long can they do that? We appeal to the leadership, and AU too must be up and doing. AU must be up and doing. Ethiopia is just within that enclave. So why won't they do something about this? We leave them to continue to fight. African leaders, please, let's see how we can help, our brothers and sisters in Sudan. The war has ravaged them too much. And it's time we make progress by supporting Sudan to get back. If there's the need to get African High Command, as suggested by Nkrumah, I think it's about time we take a second look at that. I support that. When we had ECOMOG, you remember? It helped stabilize West Africa small. But sometimes democracies also misbehave, so you get it. Like when Yahya Jammeh and Kowe. So let's look at it and see how we can support Sudan. To get back to it.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. You see, I want to hear from you as well on this on this particular issue and the other issues that we have tabled for this morning's discussion. 055-9919-802. That is the number on which you can send your messages. WhatsApp, normal text messages. The Facebook stream is up and running. Make sure you do well to join us on Facebook. Leave a comment there. I'll be more than glad to read it in the course of the show. Today is 29th. One more day until this month comes to an end. Just tomorrow, a few hours away, about 12 hours more until we see the back of November. But we are entering December, and of course December is an election year, so just some 8 days away is the December 7 election, and I'll be voting. All of us here would actually vote, so I'm encouraging you to also go out there and vote. But let's look at some of the events, not necessarily that have characterized this election, but events also in one arm of government, the legislature, for that matter. The leader of government business and the majority leader, Honorable Afenyo Makin, he has been speaking. Yesterday, he granted an interview to, I think, Joy and some other media houses, and he expressed his reservations, particularly about how the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Bagbin, operates. According to him, the Speaker acts as though Parliament is his personal property, to the very extent that he is not open to conversations about. Whenever there are issues, he just takes his personal stance, and then he's not open to dialogue and all of that. And you do remember that Afenyo Makin wrote to the Speaker asking him to recall Parliament, especially for some urgent business to be done. 22 bills to be passed, but the Speaker wrote back. I think it was 2 days ago that he wrote back, and he vehemently opposed that suggestion. His reason was that, look, there are 22 bills to be passed, and then 2 days, 28th, 29th, which was yesterday and today, won't be enough time to get all that work done. And so we can do that after the elections. After December 7, we can do that. But it appears that Afenyo Makin isn't happy about this at all. Let me start with you, Mr. George Isi, on this particular issue.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm starting with a question, actually. Speaker of Parliament, would you join Afenyo Makin? Would you agree with him that all he does is the bidding of the National Democratic Congress? If you look at events he says he does the bidding of the NDC.
Oh, the Speaker?
Yes. Okay. That's what Afenyo Makin is saying.
That's the truth.
Yeah, so I want to find out from you, if you look at the events in Parliament over the last 4 years, nearly 4 years, how is this true? What are the facts to buttress this assertion?
I'm not going to look at any 4 years. I'm looking at the recent events. That's what we are looking at.
Okay. So recent events he's been partisan in recent events.
Yes,
but the last 4 years there are times that he's been
there are times he's been very done his work as a speaker. There are times he puts his party's priority over and above. So that one is not a problem.
Are you saying this because this time around he is not dancing to the tune of the NPP?
Why? Has he danced to our tune before? Since when has he danced to the NPP's tune before? He's there as a speaker. He must be seen to be doing his duties as speaker, not dancing to anybody's tune. The Parliament must do its work. His ego, arrogance and pride is what is putting him where he is. So egoistic. He thinks he's bigger than everybody in this country. That's how he thinks. That number 3 tag he takes, and look, they read the Constitution, Article 2.4. Okay? Not obeying the rules of the Supreme Court of the land. Okay, the consequences therefore.
But has he disobeyed?
Has he obeyed it? The Supreme Court has given a ruling. And what did he do? He says, I joined Parliament. I joined Parliament. What is that? The Supreme Court.
His reasons are not reasonable?
What's the reasonability in that? How can the whole speaker says he has no role in where anybody sits in parliament? How can that be? The leader of the Parliamentary Service Board? Why is he a speaker? He cannot provide leadership. In terms of crisis, that's where we see leadership. Okay? If things are normal and cool, and what's your leadership role? Because everybody is playing. When there's crisis, that's where a leader really shows his leadership skills. That press conference they had, that's I said he had. That was the most useless press conference he's ever had in Ghana. That's the speaker's press conference. Because the sensitive questions he didn't answer them. So why did you call press conference? The media were asking the relevant, sensitive questions, and he would say, "No, he's not." Who says it's the clerk? You. All these mess was brought up by you. Okay? The interpretation of the Supreme Court's interpretation of the. I am not a lawyer. I knew that's been my argument. That the actions has nothing to do with the current parliament. It had nothing to, because you see, I cited the example of the Westminster system. I cited the UK one. That before parliamentary elections are held, Parliament is dissolved. And once Parliament is dissolved, my brother Dr. Rashid here, Ramsey here, decides that he is going on Affirmative. What is your business? Because Parliament is dissolved. But in our case, we will be doing the processes alongside Parliament functioning. But none of the people's action has anything. Because if you read the Constitution, it says in that Parliament, you cross carpet in that Parliament. And you seek to represent the people as an independent or go to another party in that Parliament. You cannot. None of the four people's action has anything to do with this Parliament. No. It's because our processes go concurrently with their sittings and code. That's why you say, oh, then Haruna went to bring this mischievous thing, and then you also acquiesce to that, and then wickedly go to do what you did. And the Supreme Court, the brilliant majority leader goes to the Supreme Court and says, no, what you're doing is wrong. The Supreme Court agrees with him. And then because of your bastard ego, you are so ashamed to convene Parliament. And you handle Parliament as if it's your private business.
So the reasons he gave about 2 days not being enough to conduct
I'll get there. That one is just seeking alibi and getting not reneging on his duties as the Speaker of Parliament, because he is close with the power to convene Parliament. Okay, Affirmative Martin has the other alternative of getting the 15%, the 15% signatories and all that. Yes, but he's used it twice. He feels there's no need for it. So yes, there are bills. It doesn't matter. 22 bills are on the table. Reconvene within the 2 days. If you are, there are prioritized bills there. If you are able to do 2, 3 within the 2 days, fine. If there's room to be able to do all the 22, what stops you? So he puts it, the 22 are there. Maybe within the 2 days, Parliament not sat till midnight or even 3 a.m. before. They have.
But you agree it's the campaign period as well. MPP
yes,
and NDC,
yes, no.
MPP
So
and NDC MPs are campaigning.
The emergency as we speak.
And this at the very zenith.
Let me tell you, November, we're supposed to have presented the first quarter budget, you know that, for 2025. You know that. Has it been done? What is the consequential effect is that government workers may not be paid if this thing is not done before. You get it? So what it means that the first 3 months there's going to be difficulty.
December 9 is a Monday. Is it and that would be 2 days after the elections. Would that be too late to recall Parliament on that day?
Oh no. But whatever. Parliament can be recalled after the election. It can be. But hey, they're saying certain things, you put it in place. Look, after the election, when majority of the MDC people have lost their seats, and they are crying, they are not in the proper psychological frame of mind. you're calling them. They come there, they even don't pay attention to what you are talking about because he knows he's lost, he's no more coming back.
Does the MPP fear that the reverse may be the case?
No, we know we are getting not less than 150 seats in the next parliament. We're very upbeat about that. Afafranto won't get a shishi. One crowd, they won't get. You get it. Well, I've seen some posters independent. I've seen independent people on the Afafranto ticket. Circle. I've seen one there. There's one guy with the circle. I've seen it there. Shishi, they won't get. And so even that alone crowd tells you they are not in the contest anyway. So let's go. So Bless the speaker. I feel so disappointed in him. He's one of the loved people, citizens of this country, because he has seen it all as far as parliamentary democracy is concerned. He's been there from day one. You get it? He's been a majority leader. He's been a minority leader. He's been a deputy speaker. And he is the speaker of parliament. And look at what he's doing. Because he's putting the interests of his party over and above the rule of law and the nation's interest. Okay? And being so egoistic. Supreme Court has given a ruling. If for nothing at all, for the optics, that's what we've been saying, at least for the optics, you call Parliament. I gave an example here before. Okay? Let me reiterate that example. In 1997, you remember that thing? In 1997, J.H. Mensah versus the Attorney General. J.H. Mensah went to the Supreme Court when Rawlings had won re-election. You get it? And then asked all his ministers to stay on. Okay? Till then he asked Kwame to present the budgets. Then J.H. Mensah said, no, he want locus. What is his stature coming to Parliament as what? As Minister of Finance. And J.H. Mensah said he doesn't have it because that Parliament is gone. You get it? That government is gone. But its mandate has been renewed. So the processes begin again. Okay? And then he went to the Supreme Court. Justice Diavana, when Supreme Court stopped the presentation of the budget, and then they dispatched the ruling, the stay of execution to the Speaker. The matter proper had not been gone into Bless. The Speaker, Kwame was in Parliament that day. If you like, check it. Kwame was in Parliament. Diavana had the letter from ruling from the Supreme Court. There, he just opened and said, "Oh, honorable members, I just got a document from or something from the Supreme Court, and it's related to what we are about to do. Permit me to read it, and then we take it from there." He read that because of ABC, J.H. Mensah versus Attorney General, the Supreme Court has decided that the Minister of Finance, Kwame Pepra, should not present the budget until the matter is dealt with. There and then, he read it, he informed Kwame Pepra that we are sorry, you have to leave. At the right time, we will invite you back. Kwame Pepra took his bag and left. That is a patriotic, forward-looking speaker. Not the arrogant one that we have today. The egoistic one who puts his party's interest over the interest of the nation. Okay? Last one, the reasons is yes. Parliament, the MPs are carrying out their business. I heard President Mahama also say they will not go. He says these people will not go. If MPP like they can go to Parliament and do whatever, they will not come. Fine. Okay? Yes, it's in the heat of the campaign. Afenyo has also written, in fact, his letter was very, very humbling. Okay? He wasn't, he was showing respect to authority. He acknowledges that the authority is in the bosom of the Speaker. That's how he wrote the letter. And he has said, well, if he says no, what can he do? He doesn't have the power to convene. He says the Speaker is not having the normal leadership caucus meetings. That's how Parliament is done. You know, the Speaker himself said there are certain things the leadership, he calls the leadership, they agree before they go to sit in the House. So Dr. Atufosi knows what Afenyo Maki will be saying about that matter. Markin also knows what he Atu will be saying about a certain matter, and the speaker also knows the agreed position they've had on the matter. You get, especially when the matter, those issues are contentious. They have engagement before they come to the floor. So what is happening that now he doesn't even want to engage the majority leader. He doesn't want to, because the decision, the ruling he gave by sacking the four is void ab initio. It's of no effect. So please, I think he should put those things. It's election time. They are all on the field. If you call them, they will come. But hey, if whatever it is, Afenyo has also agreed. Let's leave it. After the election, we'll come back. After all, we have 8 days to election. After election, they meet and they do the needful and we'll go. But it's going to go down the annals of history that in the last days of his leadership as Speaker of Parliament, he's conducted himself as a worst leader in the Parliament of Ghana.
Thank you very much, Mr. George Ayisi, for your submission. I'll take time to read a few messages, and then I'll come to Dr. Ramsey Inusa, also give him the opportunity to share his thoughts on this latest development. Good morning. I'm monitoring live in Tamale. Please greet Haj Ms. Bao, Captain Incoming MP for Mion. My name is Mohammed Banvo. Thank you, Mohammed, for your message. I'm sure Haj has received your message very well. Good morning, Bless. The Peace Pact's effectiveness is uncertain. Our flag bearer JDM signed it yesterday, despite the violence against our colleagues in Ayawaso, West Wugon, and Techiman South. Doesn't this encourage perpetrators to continue without facing punishment? Who will hold them accountable? Can there truly be peace without justice? Thank you very much for your message. Very well heard. At this last minute, President Akufo-Addo is bent on collapsing the NDC with a massive infrastructure development project and commissioning upon commissioning. In 2016, or 8 years ago by this time, the incompetent second-hand President Mahama was busily cutting swords for numerous projects all over the country, knowing very well there were no funds to complete them. All right. Thank you very much. Your name is Abdurrahman Bakun from Old Barrier. Thank you, Abdurrahman, for your message. Musa Abatwa in Asawasi says, despite signing the Peace Pact, we won't tolerate a repeat of the 2020 election manipulations and the stealing of the people's mandate. Interestingly, Akufo-Addo and Bawumia once claimed that commissioning projects signaled government failure. Yet now they are commissioning projects they know nothing about. Okay, thank you very much, Musa Abatwa, for your message. Dear host, could you find out for me from the MPP communicator if Michael Quay, the former speaker, used to dance to the tune of his party during his time? All right, thank you for your message and your question. Okay, Ken Williams says, good morning, host. I think Omakin should go back to the court to injunct Parliament to enable the CJ conduct parliamentary business, since the unanimous FC has absolute jurisdiction over everything in Ghana. Again, MPP must use the courts to change the standing orders in their favor. Does it make sense to recall the House when they continue to absent themselves? Ken Williams sent this one. Thank you. Good morning. Bless. Ask Mr. Isi how he's able to determine that NDC MPs will lose their seats. The president also said that NDC should be ready to accept the outcome of the election results. What are they up to? Ask him for me. This one here says, Afenyo Markin reaps what he sowed. He deceived some of his party MPs to overthrow Honorable Chairman Sabunsu. So this is the result he will get. If Honorable Chairman Sabusu was still the majority leader, the issue of vacant MPs would have been resolved in Parliament, unlike Afenyo Markin running 100 meters to Supreme Court. You should blame Afenyo Markin and leave the Honorable Speaker. Alan from Takrade sends this one. Bawumia has traveled to Gaza Strip to manage the economy for them. Well, I don't know what this is about. Okay. Alasan Sise from Zenu Central says, good morning to everyone. Peace is not granted by a signing of a peace accord, but with commitment to the process that ensures there is fairness, free electoral process before, during, and after the elections. What is the guarantee that 2020 election shooting and killing won't happen this year when those shot and killed innocent Ghanaians, those who perpetrated the act, are working freely? The Peace Council, the Security Service, and the government of the day has done a great disservice to the nation. Okay, thank you very much. These are some of the messages that you have sent to me through WhatsApp. I'll read the next round on from WhatsApp, from Facebook, after my second guest here has shared his thoughts on recent developments between the Speaker and Honorable Afenyomarkin. Dr. Ramsey.
Bless. When you were reading your comments, a song was lingering in my ear, and I felt like I should share it. Do you quite remember this popular song? Yenka wotie debi debi na obe home. Do you remember that song?
I know that song.
Ohuni beso so wawa.
Kawi no nu bana koyin. That's how it goes.
Say uri moko uri ede bisia or whatever. Ohuni beso so wawa. Anyway, well, this is what is happening today, and Afenyomarkin has created this problem unto himself. The same party that he belongs to has a constitution that determines one's forfeiture of membership and your actions or inactions that would lead to that, right? Then you look at Article 97, G and H. When I was speaking, I took some notes from the statement he said. He said that in Article 97, it stated that in that parliament, he stated emphatically, and he emphasized on that point, that in that parliament. But unfortunately, there's nothing under Article 97 that states in that parliament. It's actually in parliament. And if you allow me to read the first verses, the first sentence for our viewers to understand what we are dealing with here. I mean, it says tenure of office of members. 97:1. A member of parliament shall vacate his seat in parliament. So there's nothing like in that parliament. So that is a correction I want to make to IC's earlier submission, right? And of course, if it doesn't suit them, they tend to profess a different kind of constitution or read from a different kind of constitution. But the article, the 1992 constitution is clear about this issue. And Bless, the Speaker, oh, well, I can read G and H, which G, Article 97G. For your purpose. For the purpose. Oh, we don't know it. I see when you were speaking, I was quiet. When you were speaking, Bless, I think that you have to be fair to when I see was speaking. I'll read it. If he leaves Article 97G, a member of parliament shall vacate his seat in parliament if he leaves a party of which he was a member at the time of his election to parliament to join another party or seeks to remain in parliament. Seeks to remain in parliament as an independent member, not in that parliament. That is a clarification.
Remain. What does it mean?
Remain in parliament. Remain in parliament. Now, H goes to say that if he was, I see, when you were speaking, I was quiet. What I'm reading here is what I was reading here is clear. You are contradicting yourself. You are contradicting yourself on TV. You said that in that parliament, and I've just corrected you that it is not in that parliament.
What does it mean?
Check and see if there's anything in there.
What does it mean?
Please, let's have.
You can't even profess the truth in the Constitution. You come and say things that are not in the Constitution, and when they are fact checking you, you are acting arrogantly here and ignorantly. The clause is clear. H again. It says that if he was elected a member of Parliament as an independent candidate and joins a political party, Honorable Esiama was elected as what? An independent parliamentary candidate. Where is he today?
The Supreme Court has given him.
Where is he today? Where is he today? But the Supreme Court gave a declaration. The ruling cannot be, it's a declaration. Go and understand the principles of law. For a declaration to be enforced, it has to further go other processes. And so it's a declaration on the issue. What they gave was not a judgment that the speaker should admit to them, but it was a declaration. And of course, we all understand that there should be separation of powers. What the Supreme Court has actually done is encroaching in an area where it has no jurisdiction. And that's why we keep on saying that the Supreme Court has acted in ultra vires. The Supreme Court has acted in ultra vires. And with Honorable, the Right Honorable Speaker, I have to salute him for his stance in upholding to the rule of law. We believe that what the Supreme Court did was unconstitutional. Bless. And that is why if you read the orders 57.3 and 58.4, right, and Article 296 A and B, and I'll move to Article 296 A and B. My brother here will come and speak as if the Constitution was written by the MPP National Executive Council. But of course, the Constitution is clear. The 1992 Constitution is clear. Article 296, exercise of discretionary power. And let me read A and B. Where in this Constitution or in any other law, discretionary power is vested in any person or authority, A, that discretionary power shall be deemed to imply a duty to be fair and candid. Was the Speaker fair and candid? Yes, because we have few days to an election. Members of Parliament have to go and account to their constituents and tell them what they have been able to do with the MPs common fund and all that, and what they have been able to promote in terms of development, social and economic development in their constituency, right, against a bill, 22 tailored down bills that you want the Speaker to approve these bills within 2 days. And I'm coming to the issues one by one of these bills, right? And Article 296B, the exercise of discretionary power shall not be arbitrary, capricious, or biased, either by resentment, prejudice, or personal dislike, and shall be in accordance with due process of law. So the Speaker actually acted in terms of in line with the due processes of law and according to the rule of law, because he has actually applied his discretionary powers in a candid manner and in a fair manner that favors both parties, because he didn't say that the NDC parliamentary candidates cannot come back because they have, but he's speaking for all parliamentary candidates, including yourself. When the parliament was recalled, when Afenyo Markin sent a petition to the Speaker revoking what do you call it? Is it article? An article in the Constitution says that about 15% of MPs have to sign for Parliament to be summoned. 112. Yes, Article 112. The Speaker acted according to that. He gave you the audience, and none of your leadership showed up in Parliament. Then we did not see any, and you didn't have the numbers for business. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is hypocritical on the side of the MPP. What is IEC talking about? When the Speaker agreed and said, okay, come to Parliament, let's discuss the business, you didn't have the numbers. You even failed to bring the numbers into Parliament for business. Even your own party members, you are failing to bring them to Parliament. How much more, what do you call it, bringing the totality of members of Parliament to transact a business within 2 days. So please, IEC, now let's go to the subject matter. Bless. We're in this country where Mahmoud Bawumia made a promise to the people of Ghana and said that Ghana, we have all the monies here. And I quite remember a popular mantra said by the president, Yeti Sikaso, a comedian. And so it was assumed, which they told us that we have all the monies here. We don't need to borrow. They said the previous government was borrowing, right? That we don't need to borrow. We have all the monies here. We will just ensure that we apply the right policies, and then the money will start flowing. In fact, Ghana beyond 8. Do you remember? Do you remember? Today, look at the debt to GDP ratio. This country is a highly indebted. It's even more than 70%. It is 84% according to the IMF. But actually, the debt to GDP ratio is over 100% because they've not added the debt owned by SOEs. So get that fact clear. Now,
nobody has that.
I see, please let me make my points. No, don't interject. When you are speaking, write it down. I don't know why my brother is so.
I'll give you time to respond.
I don't know why my brother is always acting like that.
Right.
When you were speaking, I was quiet.
Right.
If I'm speaking the truth, you feel you're feeling the heat because I'm speaking the truth.
I'll give you time to respond. I'll give you time to respond. I'll give you time to respond. It's just the two of you. I'll give you time to respond.
Did I lie that Akufo-Addo promised us Ghana beyond 8? Was that a lie? Is that a lie? That Akufo-Addo promised Ghanaians Ghana beyond 8? Yes, so we have currently Ghana Financial Stability Fund through the International Development Agency. There's a loan facility of $250 million currently waiting in Parliament. And you want Parliament to convey to approve this $250 million loan so that you can share among your party apparatchiks. So that you can share among your party apparatchiks, and Ken Oforiatta with his data bank would also make money from this loan facility, because I'm sure they will be the financial transactional advisors on behalf of the government, right? Then we have about $335 million tax exemption for companies that they have hands in it under the 1D1F policy. 335 million. We went to the IMF to seek what? $3 billion. Yet a country like Ghana, a country that is highly indebted, a poor country, you are going to exempt taxes of the tune of $335 million at the expense of the people of Ghana. Bless. Then the certain, the Ewoya lithium project. In any civilized country, and in a country that has got good governance, when you have a project in terms of your mining sector, right, you have to build consensus among the people who, I mean the locals in the community who will be affected by the mining, especially the traditional authorities. And that is why Honorable Alan Kojo Tramante is saying that under Article 257, he is going to amend it and make traditional authority co-trustees of our natural resources. And this has reflected in this issue. Why is it that you sign a contract with a foreign company in the name of Barari DV Ghana Limited, right, for the exploration and then potential mining of lithium in the Mankesim, in Kusukum, and then Ibura areas, which total an amount of about 1,000 hectares of lands that will be degraded for this mining activity? Bless. They didn't build consensus with locals. They didn't build consensus with the traditional authorities, yet you go and sign the contract in Accra with your party apparatchiks who are facilitating this thing at the expense of the people of Ghana. Ghana is today the 8th, in terms of gold production, the 8th in the world globally, right? 98% of our gold is benefited by these foreign multinationals. We only benefit about 2%. The benefit to the people of Ghana with all our gold resources currently, because of the dubious contracts, the contracts that do not add value to the lives of people, the contracts that do not promote equality, we only gain 2% of all the mining activities of our gold that happens in this country. And that is why we are bringing a radical change, that going forward, no foreign company, and the people of Ghana should listen to this, no foreign company is going to export our gold in its raw form without 60% value addition. And that is what Honorable Alan Kojo Tramante is talking about. If you do not add value of about 60% to our any mineral resources that is being mined in Ghana, you will not export it. This would create employment opportunities for our youth. This would ensure that there's technological exchange. And of course, this would ensure equity and create a lot of jobs. That these two dominant parties for 32 years now have been signing contracts, lease agreements, mineral mining agreements that do not endure any benefit to our people. Look at the people in Obuasi today. Bless. Look at the people look, Obuasi is home to Africa's second largest gold reserve. What do you call it? Goldfields and co. Have been mining in there since Adam. What is the benefit? Are the people gaining any benefit? Bless. Then the most annoying aspect. Let's recall Parliament for 2 days to go and rename a university, JB Dankwa University of Engineering and Agricultural Sciences. What has JB Dankwa done for the people of Ghana? Who is JB Dankwa? Who is JB Dankwa? What has JB Dankwa done? And I agree with senior comrade Kwesi Pratt, saying that JB Dankwa can be attributed to the likes of Wontumi, because he was a regional chairman, EC regional chairman for the UGCC. Right? A person who really pushed an agenda to sabotage Nkrumah's attempt to ensure that we had independence now is somebody that we want to rename a university after him. I'm sure what you will say is that, oh, JB Dankwa helped establish the University of Ghana. But we all know the facts. Is this what you want to recall Parliament? And of course, the free SHS bill. Honorable Alan Kojo Tramante is saying that he will review the policy, taking into consideration the financial sustainability of that policy, curriculum development, and of course, the infrastructure deficit that has plagued the policy that today it has been implemented poorly, that today we have a double track system. And that is why, Bless, it will be hypocritical on the side of the MPP to want to use this as a bait to try and smear the lies on the speaker and make the speaker look bad in the eyes of the public. But of course, I have my own reserve and sentiments about the speaker, which is the passage of LI 2462. That Speaker Alban Bagbin ensured that was passed in Parliament, that today 60% of our water bodies have been polluted. Most of our agricultural lands have been degraded. That today our farmers are crying that today cocoa revenues are low, at an all-time low. Bless. So we have some serious issues, that we're dealing with, right? Getting to elections, people are busy with their campaigns. So let them be. Let them be. And for him to say that Afafanto even has a candidate that we are pushing in Parliament. Afafanto is not a party, I see. It's not a party. So if anybody, Afafanto, I'm just saying that you said that somebody is using our logo. Yes. Didn't you say that? Somebody is using our logo. Yes, you can't use our logo because we are not a party. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're an independent parliamentary candidate, you cannot use the logo of an independent presidential candidate. Is that so? The posters are there. So that's what I'm saying, that if the person is using that, and I'm sure it's a propaganda from the MPP, I'm sure they are the ones putting up that those. But I'm saying that Afafanto is not a party yet. But in the near future, we'll metamorphose into a formidable party that would ensure and promote good governance in this country. And that's why I keep on saying that. Your Mahmoud Bawumia promised us economic independence. Promised us Ghana beyond aid. Today, what is the debt to GDP ratio? What is the current inflation rate? Today, I wonder, and I want to ask the people of Ghana, do you really have savings in your bank account? Bless, let me even start with you, Bless. How is your savings?
Why are you putting me on this?
No, Bless, but you are Ghanaian, and you are part of the working class. We all are. Do we even have savings today in today's current Ghana? Look at all macroeconomic indicators. And you sit down here, I see, and look at God, and look the people in the eye, and say, Bawumia has both solutions. Well, maybe for the record, if he does all today, what will we do tomorrow? So I'm sure maybe on that basis, I'm sure maybe we can give IC some waiver, because if Bawumia solves the solution, if he has both solutions, and he executes all the bold solutions today, what would he do tomorrow? I mean, leaders are like stars, right? Leaders are like stars, and stars shine bright in the dark. And in times of adversity, that is when we should be able to see the quality of the leaders that we have, especially in managing our economy. Unfortunately, the Wale Adam Smith has failed us. That today, all they know is dancing, standing on the stage and dancing Sisifia. Sisifia, indeed, Sisifia because a comedy. We can't afford 3 square meals. I mean, we can't afford 3 square meals a day. So so if he's dancing to Sisifia, he's actually teasing the people of Ghana that are suffering. Bless. And so IC should get this straight. Mahmoud Bawumia is never the alternative for Ghana. He is never. And they try and use COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine war to try and lie to the people of Ghana. Why? Benin. Isn't Benin part of West Africa? Didn't Benin face COVID? What is the current inflation rate in Benin? What is the interest rate on loans in Benin and Ivory Coast? So what is he talking about? So Bless, what I'm saying is that the speaker did what was right in the interest of Ghana. And it was an unbiased stance that he propelled to these people, or professed to the MPP. The Speaker of Parliament, I salute him highly for his stance, and we will ensure and we would continue to promote the adherence to the rule of law. That is what we will always promote. Right. And we would ensure that going forward, this book, the 1992 Constitution, which has a lot of flaws, that has given absolute power to the president, who has corrupted all independent constitutional bodies in Ghana and the entire governance system, would not have going forward come January 7, 2025, because when we come into power and the next president to be elected, Honorable Alan Kojo Tramante, will promote constitutional reforms so that we will not have the challenges that we're faced with over the past 32 years.
Thank you very much. Well, I would read a few messages once again. This one here says, Ghana is an interesting place. Why the MPP rating the speaker as the worst speaker of Ghana's parliament, saying that he's acting in the interest of his party. And I want to ask a question: who is in this country and is not acting in the interest of his party? The president is acting in the interest of his party, as well as the vice president, who is acting in the interest of his party, and the former president John Kufuor is acting in the interest of his party. So what is wrong if Speaker of Parliament of Ghana is a member of the NDC and he has been in Parliament as MP on the ticket of the NDC throughout his political career, is acting in the interest of his party? Has it now become a crime? Right. Uli Mohammed from Y East, thank you for your message. The MPP wants Parliament to be recalled because of passing loans for them to share like they did with COVID money and tax waivers for their family and friends. Parliament will not be recalled today or tomorrow. Bless, ask KC, when will Bawumia organize public lecture on the economy as he did in 2015 and 2016, especially on CD depreciation, inflation, and debt to GDP ratio? Mutala from Salaga. Thank you, Mutala, for your message. This one here says that Mr. AC, let me read the messages, I beg you.
No, somebody is asking
no,
so
no,
I have to answer you.
No. Let me read the messages.
Yeah, don't mention my name.
Right. This one here says that good morning, Bless. Let it sound deeply into the ears of the MPP that they should not think signing that piece of paper yesterday would cool down the NDC from matching them boot for boot in this year's election. We would match up to them if they try to intimidate anyone in the polling stations come 7 December 2024. Soglo K. Ibrahim sent this one. Thank you for your message. Okay, I think I've read this one. Edward Dugbaza says our Supreme Court is a disgrace. They could not interpret a simple article in the Constitution. They spent all their time playing politics. Mustafa Jabuni says, good morning, Bless. Your show is splendid. This election is just like human beings searching for their lost peace, which is dominion taken for religion. We don't even know what will be good after the selection. Mustafa, thank you for your message. Good morning, or please tell me, Stacey, that we are okay if that's his conclusion, because we already have the West President, the West Vice President, West EC boss, West Supreme Court judges. So West Parliament Speaker is okay for Ghanaian. Okay. All right. Vic Amek says this year's vote would be about bread and butter. All governments do some projects, but the bottom line is our daily bread. Naira Kwame says, recall Parliament for what exactly? Okay, all right. Thank you for your messages. I've received so many of them. Right. Let's proceed.
No, but I think there's...
So if I give you your time, you can use your time to do that, respectfully, Mr. AC. So we are moving on.
To some of my time, so
we are moving on. I gave you a lot of time. I won't accept that. I'm sorry. I won't. But I gave you. But I gave you a lot. I gave you a lot of time. Let's move away. 2024 elections.
No, please.
Bawumia.
It's not fair. You see, there's been urgent things. We need to 1 minute.
No, so don't worry. No. If you respond, you also respond.
Yes, no problem.
Okay.
1 minute.
Right.
Let's go.
That's fine.
Good. Business and Financial Times is here. July 29, 2024. Chiefs petition Parliament for Ewoya Lithium Project ratification. Listen. Chiefs from the Mankesim, Nkusukum, and Abra traditional areas have petitioned Parliament to urgently ratify the mining lease for the Ewoya Lithium Project. Representing community directly impacted by the project, the traditional leaders emphasize the extensive stakeholder engagement and numerous community benefits tied to the project.
Ratification.
They say there's not been a stakeholder engagement.
If you had engaged them, would they want ratification?
This is what the chiefs are saying. This is what the chiefs are saying. So what are you talking? It's extensive. That's what he said. The chiefs are saying this.
Petition Parliament.
The chiefs are saying this. Yes.
Oh,
so
right.
you see, he comes to see
the chiefs have petitioned Parliament to ratify.
He comes to
amend the agreement.
He comes to
because he did not engage them wholeheartedly.
Expensive stakeholder.
How is that a lie?
So why
is that a lie? Then he doesn't understand.
And then
he doesn't understand English.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't understand English.
You understand English.
You don't understand English.
You read Constitution.
You say ratification. You said ratification.
You said and then proceed to the next one.
Thank you. Good.
Yeah. So contract without proper
stakeholder. Thing there's been extensive stakeholder. Look, we've all been part of those things.
So why is there ratification now?
So
why is there ratification?
And then they take the step.
Why are you going to ratify the agreement?
So these are matters.
If there was proper stakeholder engagement, putting the interest of the people, why is there ratification?
I understand what you're saying. Okay, let's go on there with that. Good. So
this is just like a Japan in Parliament.
Hey, J.B. Dankwa is inconsequential. It's like what? A chairman of a region? Chairman won't to me? Aye. Do you know the architects, the brainchilds of the independence struggle?
Oh, please.
The formation of the UGCC?
Please.
And they went to, because Park Grant was the financial big with them. If you have ideas and go, you run it by these people because they can fund it for you. Okay? And so that's what brought Park Grant in. Original ideas and go, we're not from Park Grant. That's your own boss. Okay? So please, they went to Takrady and all that. Met Williams and Blay and all those people. Before UGCC was formed, J.B. Dankwa played a role. He was literally my African traditional thing and a lawyer. Okay? Serious researcher. So please, some people don't know the history of the country. Those ones are some things that the Supreme Court, read Article 131. He says they don't have the original jurisdiction, interpretation of Constitution.
I didn't say that is not what I said. That is not what I said.
Anything the Supreme Court says, that is what it is.
Let's proceed.
Why is has the Supreme Court rule?
Right. Let's Mr. AC, let's proceed. 2024 elections just some 8 days away, and we've signed a peace pact. I've received several messages from my viewers who are saying that a peace pact is inconsequential. Like it does nothing. It's inconsequential to the elections because peace would only prevail when the right things are done. Not signing a piece of paper would determine whether there will be peace or not. Is it a sentiment you share in?
Exactly. I concur to some of the sentiments that have been professed by our people and the general public, because we've witnessed erroneous crimes against humanity in this country, led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Mahmoud Bawumia. The killings of innocent citizens in Techima South, the brutality of innocent citizens in Ayahoso West Wogon, where a commission was established, the Emil Short Commission of Inquiry, to dig deep into this issue and then bring a recommendation on the table of the president to further take action to punish the perpetrators of such erroneous crimes. But what do we see? As usual, a clearing agent. He clears all these people. Not even one person has been prosecuted. And the same General Opoku has been taken to the Ashanti region, kindly, to ensure that he does the bidding of the MPP. But let me send a caution to them and to the government that gone are those days. 2020 is quite different from 2024. The hardship that you have taken us through as citizens of this country, we all know how we survive. And of course, we thank our God for giving us the ability to be able to survive a day or even a second under this regime. Bless. And so let me send a warning to them. And they should understand that we are not going to tolerate any intervention, any manipulation, any machination by the military. The military is not allowed by law to deal with civilian cases. It's the police. And that is why I agree with the IGP. And the IGP should uphold to that promise that they will not allow the military in any polling station. And of course, the EC, if the right things are being done, nobody would be aggrieved. Nobody would create any chaos if we uphold to the rules of the game. But any attempt to subvert the will of the people or to rig this election in favor of the MPP will be met with harsh resistance by the people of Ghana. That one I can tell you, Bless. We are calling for peace. But in ensuring peace, we, the stakeholders, have to play our role. And that is why, Bless, going forward, Honorable Alan Kojo Tramantin has brought this proposal. And the people of Ghana should listen that, look, we cannot take these two dominant parties into the future. The future of this country is not, I would say, guaranteed with these two dominant parties. We have had them for 32 years. If for 32 years you have failed us, what is a guarantee that the next 4 years you will provide us with that success or that desire of Ghanaians to have economic and social development? Bless. Constitutional reform is what we are professing. And under the great transformational plan of Honorable Alan Kojo Tramantin, he is promoting and he has professed a solution that we need to create a second chamber. Ghana has to bring about a bicameral parliamentary system. That second chamber will be an apolitical chamber that will not have any political actors and non-state actors, that would have the sole mandate, backed by legislation, to appoint heads of independent constitutional bodies, including the CJ, including justices of the Supreme Court, High Courts, and Courts of Appeal, including the EC chairperson and then other commissioners of the EC, including the Chief of Defense Staff, the IGP, the head of customs. All these appointees would not be based on the partisan affiliation, especially when the MPP or NDC are in power, right, under Article 70. And so we would amend that Article 70, and that authority will be given to the second chamber that will be made up of our traditional authorities, faith-based organizations, trade unions, youth-led organizations, the PWDs organizations, right, industry captains, CSOs, the media, academia. All these bodies will collectively come together and would have that legislative power to appoint various heads of independent constitutional bodies, so that tomorrow nobody will say, oh, because the president appointed this person, so the person is doing the bidding of the president. And of course, it's true. If you look at the composition of the EC today, we all know that it's made up of MPP members. Bosman Asari, Tete and Co. They are all MPP members. If you look at the Supreme Court, if you look at the Supreme Court, right? The Supreme Court is also made up of MPP members. Justice Gau is a clear example, who stood for a parliamentary candidate in the Volta region, as a parliamentary candidate in the Volta region. And so, Bless, we are saying that we want to have a resolution to this crisis, and we have brought about this solution. What are they professing? What solutions are they talking about? They claim they have bold solutions. So for 8 years, you could not salvage the economic situation with this bold solution. It's 4 years that you'll be able to salvage the economic situation. The people of Ghana are not fools. And I want to say that again. The people of Ghana do not have short memories. The people of Ghana are wiser than ever. Bless. And even a mad person walking on the streets of Accra, Bless, knows that the economy that is being led by Mahmoud Bawumia is the worst in the history of this country. Because those who are retarded, anytime they walk on the streets, at least they will find food to eat on the floor. But today, Bless, even, what do you call it? Even a pill of KK pills, you will not even find it on the floor. So they know, even a retarded person knows that Mahmoud Bawumia has failed. Any honest Ghanaian knows that this Mahmoud Bawumia cannot do anything. When the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. IC cannot sit here and defend it. And you know, I feel pity for him, because he has one of the toughest jobs in the world, to come and sit down here and communicate for the MPP and defend this government. This clueless, incompetent government. And all macroeconomic indicators will vindicate this statement that I'm making. Right. And so, Bless, we are calling for peace. War has no victor. Chaos has no victor. We all love Ghana. We are all here. I mean, I love this country so much, Bless. I don't want to see this country in shambles, in serious chaos. We want peace to prevail, but of course, the stakeholders have a role to play. Let us uphold to the rule of law. Let us ensure that there is justice, there's equality, and the truth shall prevail. Whoever wins come December 7th, and we know that Honorable Alan Kojo Tramante would emerge victorious come December 7th.
Thank you very much.
And we would usher a new era for the development of Ghana.
Right. Mr. Isi.
Yes, if I tell viewers this doctor doesn't understand English, they say, what? Ratify. Listen. Sign or give formal consent to a treaty, contract, or agreement, making it officially valid. Is that not the work of Parliament? Making the document valid? And how can you ratify without stakeholder engagement? That's what the chiefs have told us, that they've done extensive stakeholder engagement. And somebody sits here and says, it wasn't done. Lies!
and he's exposed, then he tries to say, he doesn't understand, bro. But for your constitution, cry out. Can you imagine that? Let's come to the peace pact. Look, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that people put their signature. Look, it's not a joke. When people say that thing doesn't mean anything, you are lying. We all pray nothing happens. If something serious happens, these war crime things and co. Once you put your signature there, you can be held at the international level. You know that, Bless. It's not for joke that they called you and you come there and you sit there and you sign. Public glare. There's evidence. And something happens, you go and misconduct yourself. And there's explosion or crisis. The International Court of Justice will hold you before it. And this will be something that will nail you. Ask any lawyer if I'm lying about what I'm saying. So if you think it's just for pop and pageantry, you are joking. You're committing yourself to a serious document. In the glare of the public, you are giving assurance to the public that you are committed. Yes, I agree. Nobody wants any, distorted election. No. And I tell you, in elections, your vigilance is important. I've been part polling station and I've been at the collation center 3 times. Okay? So I know what goes into your vigilance is very key and important. Unfortunately, the process of this election, every stage, MPP, NDC, and other parties that have the capacity. I'm not talking about any bitter brigade called Alan and his people. They are bitter brigades. They are inconsequential in this scheme. This election, you see, they will vote Alan. Who will vote for Alan?
Who is more bitter than
Who will vote for Alan?
So why are you still talking about
Who will vote for Alan?
Why are you worried
the bitter brigade. Ghanaians, you either right thinking Ghanaian will go and vote for Alan. For what?
And the same right thinking Ghanaians will consider
Let me talk about it.
You see how you're contradicting yourself.
Won these elections.
You see how you're contradicting yourself.
The bitter brigade can bend the sea. Yeah, but we have won this. Mark it on the wall. I'll come back here after 9.
We shall see.
Here.
Even SRC elections will not even win.
Let's go.
Even SRC election, Mamla will not win. What are you talking about?
Yesterday, it happened. You remember I said, the national chairman of the NDC said he was not going to sign? The candidate went to sign. Maybe they will resolve that issue, and I'm happy the candidate did. It's important. Okay? Because the symbolism must be there. Let me tell you, nobody, whether MPP or NDC, if you don't monitor the process well and you lose, no Ghanaian will shed his blood for you. Mark it on the wall. No Ghanaian will shed his blood for you. People will go on the street, make their noise and it will die down. I'm telling you, we have to take our destinies into our own hands and be vigilant and train our people, agents. They must be properly trained. The NDC should get people, they take people to the agents who don't even know how to do 1 + 1. The NDC did that in previous elections. Okay? Get people. Then when MPP is taking somebody with a master's degree to go and be an agent in mathematics, to go and be an agent. You think it's a joke? They take medical doctor, go and be an agent. Then you just take anybody. No. That is the point. Bless. The coalition and those results, they are the key points. So I'm happy that all the parties have, signed this document. People say 2020, there were some problems and I was in a coalition center. Bless. There is a cordoned off area. You cannot go in there. Every election in this country, the military has been an integral part of it. Nobody should sit there and be lying to the Ghanaian. You think we don't follow the election? From 1992, the military has been part of these every election in Ghana. What are we talking about? And the IGP is the chairman of the election security group. But he has the powers to co-opt the military anytime he wants. And so when the patrol teams are moving, watch it, everywhere, the military is everywhere, but they don't get closer. By 2000 election, and I was going to Accra Technical University now, Poly, like a war zone. And more vehicles, 1, you pass 2, you pass 3, then men with leaves all over them. Guns! I'm a bars boy, but when I saw that, I said, whoa. But fortunately, you people, the media, you encourage people, go and vote, they can do anything. But when people misbehave, the military are brought in. Every election, tell me I'm lying. You have observed not less than 3 elections. So tell me I'm lying. 3 out of the 8, you have, Anameboa. So please, nobody should deceive himself. It's the police that provides the frontal leadership. The military give the backup. That's why that colonel in Achiasi said, I don't want to come out. But when you make it impossible for me to stay in the barracks and I come out, I'll beat you. Because your misbehavior is what is going to compel him to be drawn in. And when he comes, he will beat you. It's just a warning to all of us. Let's do our things right. Bless, are you telling me it's right and proper for somebody to go and snatch a ballot box? You have gone to queue and voted, taking your decision that you want party A or party B, only for you to be going home and to turn and see that somebody has lifted that ballast ball and is running away with it. Will you be happy? Huh? I have said in that circumstance, shoot the person to immobilize him. That's the truth, that's the right way. Because it's the people's decision. You cannot just take it for granted. And when there's a cordoned off area, don't cross it. In the coalition, that's what they do. We have the authority. We have the badge. If you're observer, they give you the badge. If I'm agent, representative of my party, I have a badge. I use it, I enter. Because I'm going to work. I have access. You get it? If I don't have that badge or something, I will not have access in there. The coalition, you will not. You get it? So blessed. I beg you. I'm grateful to all. I salute all the leaders. CPP, whatever, Alan Chamati, one of his Beta Brigade senior was the one who was there, my former general secretary. It pains me, one of them. He's been a good person to me, but beyond someone. I tell you, my communication journey has been fantastic. So every day it pains me that he's gone. But he's been beat up from God knows when. I don't know what the issue is. He's my countryman. He's from the mountains with me.
Right, thank you very much.
He's been beat up. He didn't told. Not he didn't told. How hard then? He's so bitter. Former general secretary. You've got reason to that point.
Right. Thank you so much.
People have honored you to that point. You're your leader, Alan Chamati. He goes to every election, he loses and he resigns. He loses to election.
Thank you very much, George. Thank you. Thank you, Ramsey. Today, your mics have been muted. Today is Obasima. Make sure you do well to join Amaprat and her charges at the Accra Metropolitan Center. The hall will play host to the Obasima Summit, and so make sure you do well to be there. Do have a pleasant morning. Bye-bye.